Warning, you are entering open line summer. For today, anything goes. Thank you for your cooperation.
All right.
Warning, you are entering open line summer. For today, anything goes. Thank you for your cooperation.
That's right. It's open lines summer. Open lines summer, so that means that we can have an open lines any day of the week. And I want to welcome you to BDA Boxing. Shout out to everybody in the chat. We want Snow Queen, says JC. Fury owns Wakanda. Paja in the chat. Michael Poe, Eddie Kane. Who else do we have here? Drugchit Clanello. Eparakua. Harp Janda. Guys, welcome to the show. All right, you know how it works. It's like Open Lines Friday, basically. Anybody can join. Everybody should join. I'm already on the Discord. The link is in the description. And I will be posting the link also in the chat throughout the whole night, so you guys can join. We're going to keep it to like 8 people at the same time over here on the group chat. All right, I think we have Mr. BDA here. Mr. BDA, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right, welcome to BDA Summer. By the way, we encourage people to drink, so get shit.
I mean, are you sure you think that's wise on open lines?
Yeah, maybe not. But we know we like to live life dangerously over here.
It's open lines. It's summer. Why not?
Yeah, exactly. It's summer. That's the excuse. All right, Mr. BDA. Jaron Ennis. What did you think about his performance? Were you impressed?
It was a fun fight. I'll tell you that much. 2 punchers. They went for it. It was interesting because Jaron Ennis sort of thought, okay, I'm going to break him down from the outside as he comes in. And, he did break him down. It took a while. Makes me wonder about his punching power, but at least, he showed that he's not just a puncher. If he doesn't take you out within the first 5 rounds, he can still keep hammering his opponent. Mm-hmm. I like the fact that he took a shot in that fight, because I don't think his chin is bad. That usually happens with boxers. There's boxers out there that get wobbled, and people go, "Oh, he's got a bad chin." I think it depends on the defense. I think when Jaron Ennis has been stunned, he was stunned by a Panamanian dude, forget his name, and Lipinets stunned him, which is weird because you think, well, how come Villa never really? I mean, he did stun him in the 3rd round, I think. He had Ennis holding on, but he didn't make him do the stanky leg dance, as they say, the way Lipinets does. But it's weird. People say, well, how come Villa didn't do that and Lipinets could? And again, I think that's to my point. It's the defense. When he got caught by Lipinets and that other dude, he didn't really see them coming. Here, he was coming to the fight knowing that Villa could crack. And so I think it shows adaptability, too, in that you can see, he knows how to adapt to a fighter depending on how hard the guy can hit. But that being said, and the good thing is, of course, he was entertaining. He took the guy out. Now, if we want to talk about some of the holes he's got in his game, he relies a little bit too much on his athleticism. And that's why he was getting cracked in there with some shots. I mean, he was making some of the mistakes that Gerald Anderson made too against Charles Martin. And that is pulling straight back. But you saw him get his head snapped back a whole bunch of times. And, I'm hearing some people saying, well, he's special. So I'm thinking, I mean, he's good. Don't get me wrong. I enjoy watching him fight because he's not a back foot bitch. But that being said, isn't it diluting the term special when a guy does what he's supposed to do in there and people already jump on the bandwagon and say, oh, he's special. I mean, he was supposed to beat this guy, wasn't he? 11-1 underdog, Villa was. So, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like I said, he did what he had to do. He took him out. It would have been bad if he couldn't have taken this guy out or if he would have gotten dropped or anything. I mean, it was a competitive fight. Was Ennis in control? I don't think he was fully in control. I think he did what he had to, which was to break the guy down. But what do you think about that? When people go, well, he's special. I'm thinking, well, isn't that? I mean, he did what he was supposed to do. Isn't special supposed to be when he dominates a guy that we don't expect him to dominate? Or what do you think about that?
Exactly. You can say he's special if the guy is like maybe 20 years old and he's taking out this type of opponents like this. But at this point, how old is Jaron Ennis?
25, I think.
25. Jesus. And it's not the first time we've seen him take out somebody like this. This opponent, he was a good opponent from what I understand, but he wasn't anything special. So like you said, that's why it was expected of Ennis to take him out like that. This wasn't even a test. I didn't hear anybody say that.
Well, it was a test. It was a test because at least the guy could crack. But that's the thing, though. Like my thing is when people say, "Well, he's special," it's like he took him out, and people go, "Well, he beat what's his name, Ellis." That wasn't the same tune people were saying like 7 months ago. I mean, that fight. So a lot of people felt he shouldn't even have gone Villa's way. And then Villa already has a loss to another Mexican dude, and some people say it was a robbery. I don't know. I think people should watch the fight and judge for themselves.
All right, it was a test because the guy had power, but how much of a test is that? We've seen many boxers with power that lack other skills, and they're not even that dangerous. The power isn't even a factor because it's just they're not that good. Everybody's saying that he's 26 now. I remember when Canelo was 22, almost 23, and fought Mayweather. And that's like, apparently to these Mayweather fans, that's one of Mayweather's biggest wins, a 23-year-old. When is Jaron Ennis going to step up? I mean, he's 26.
I agree with that, but I mean, let's face the facts. It's the PBC's fault. For all the talk about how they got these big fights lined up. What's that?
I don't hear him complain. I would be freaking out. What is this guy like?
Well,
what's this guy doing? Just relaxing?
It's like Jimmy said. Jimmy has said this ad nauseum about how they had to sign these non-disclosure agreements. So they can't patent out the PBC. And even if they do, who was it? Was it Sean Porter? There was one fighter who badmouthed them and then had to apologize a couple of days later. I think it was Regis Prograis when he was with the PBC. But anyway, listen, back to the Jaron Ennis thing. I think the real test should be to put him in there against a complete fighter. Because putting him in there against a guy that can crack and who's already been outboxed and hurt, by the way, against Ellis in the last fight. I mean, don't get me wrong. Again, people are just going to harp on the criticism, and they're not going to focus on the props we gave him in the beginning of the show. But the fact is, all I'm focusing on right now, or we're focusing on rather, is when people say, well, he's special. I'm thinking, well, hold your horses there a little bit. It's like, that's what people were saying before he fought Karen, who with some basic movement took away his power. So, let's really see what he's got. Wouldn't the next test be a rematch against Karen? See if maybe he can
looked
adapt
bad in that fight. And if we keep saying, well, this guy can't get this fight because he's in the PBC or whatever, okay, well, then get Karen again. Let's see if he can figure this guy out this time.
Mm-hmm.
But no, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
By the way, this is an open line show, so the link is there in the description and the chat. Make sure to jump in. Put him in there against Karen or put him in there against... well, that's the other thing. I don't know how many people are going to jump on today, so if there's a lot, I'm going to be jumping off, let them talk. But if you talk about that later, Stanionis is free now because Virgil Ortiz, for the third time, this fight has been, they say postponed. And I think that's what I read. They said, oh, it's been postponed. I'm thinking, then other people are saying, no, Ortiz is moving up to 154. So I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's going on. But it would appear that maybe Stanionis is free because, there's fights. I'm not a big UFC guy, but in the UFC, they had Khabib versus Tony Ferguson. I think that was the guy's name. And they would always make that fight. And then something would happen where the fight would fall off. And, it never happened. And people would call it a cursed fight. I think that's what Virgil Ortiz versus Stanionis is. It's a cursed fight. It's never going to happen. Yeah, it's just some things are meant to be. You can't move mountains.
Well, what's happening with Virgil Ortiz?
I don't know, man. Apparently he fainted, had to be hospitalized. I think he's still in the hospital. Hopefully it's not the dreaded COVID. Maybe that's just still around.
That's over, man.
The other theory is that he's been having trouble making weight, and he fainted because of him trying to make weight. But usually that happens when people are in the sauna, on fight day. Not the fucking 6 days before a fight. 6 days before a fight, essentially, you're just restricting your calorie intake. Unless he's completely starving himself, and then maybe. But I don't know. I think this guy's got fucking health issues. What have you heard? Have you heard anything different? Or?
No, I haven't heard shit. By the way, I was giving out the wrong link to the. I was giving out the BDA gaming channel link. What the fuck am I doing? Hold on.
Wait a minute.
Shit.
Well, that's why I saw a bunch of people jumping in.
Fuck.
Yeah, now I'm checking the channel now. There's I think Jimmy wants to jump on.
Yeah.
I think he thought that was
yeah.
Well, I'm going to invite Jimmy directly.
Yeah.
So I want to hear from him too. I haven't talked to him in a while.
Sorry, guys. I fucked it up. I fucked it up here. But yeah, about Ortiz. Maybe he's not. I heard that some people are saying that he's unable to make weight. If he is unable to make weight and he's now fainting, then he should move up. And I was gonna ask you something. What about Jaron Ennis? How big do you think this guy? Do you think he's big for the division? Because he looks huge.
It's gonna be one of the biggest welterweights I've ever seen. And people say, I've heard some people on Twitter saying, well, he made 145. That means he's dedicated. It's like, no, it just means he's really working hard to keep that weight down on the weighing day. And who knows how much he's rehydrating to on fight. And then there was Thunderdome. And again, this is Tanjin. What's the word I'm looking for here? Well, it's speculative. But he did a stream once where he was looking into the scales from the PBC events, and there was something weird with Jaron Ennis about the weigh-in. I forget exactly what it was, but I'll try to find the video later. But there was some hijinks going on with the weigh-in. But again, that's speculative. But he is a very big welterweight. I don't expect him to stay around for long. But you know what? The bigger issue is twofold. Number one, he needs to fight some guys that are more complete than just Villa, who was there to be beat. And number two, the PBC thing. That's the big issue, is what type of promotion and what type of opportunities is he going to get with the PBC? Because people can talk long and proud about how the PBC is making the big fights. Number one, those big fights that people are talking about are on pay-per-view. And that really proves to me who pays for these fights and who doesn't, because the people that say, man, these are some great fights. Yeah, because you're not paying for them. That's why you think everything's good, but you should be complaining that it's behind a paywall. And number two, you have to wonder, Spence Crawford took years to make. How long is it going to get for him to get his shot at the winner of Spence Crawford, or even Stanionis? Because Stanionis was, he was scheduled to fight Ortiz, and there were some discrepancies there with the postponements. But he hadn't fought. Stanionis hadn't fought since April 2022. And it took a while for them to announce what was next. And look at us now here with all the postponements. So if you're inactive, you never know what's going to happen. The same thing happened to Tank Davis in 2018, 2019. Those were some lost years because he would only fight once, and then he would get into some legal troubles, or some fights would be postponed. And so that would stretch out to about 8-9 months or even a year of inactivity. So that's what these guys have to learn. And they really have to press their promoters or managers, whatever, to get more fights. But unfortunately, you can't really do that with the PBC because, even if who are you going to complain to? There's a non-disclosure agreement which has a non-disparaging clause in there.
You need to keep your mouth shut.
Pretty much out of interest. Pretty much, you got to keep your mouth shut. Yeah.
All right, we got more people in here. We have Boxing with Frank, Jimmy, Quay, and Rare Breed. Guys, welcome to the show. Let's start with Jimmy.
Yo,
Jimmy
yo.
out here. Jimmy,
Yo,
your
what's
thoughts?
going on?
What's up, man? Your thoughts on the whole Jaron Ennis, the fight? Were you impressed? What's the future?
Well, I'm impressed that he was able to stop the kid. Shows that he does have power, right? I'm impressed with that. Am I impressed with anything else? No, because I already know he's a good fighter. I mean, this kid was and I don't want to be disparaging against this Venezuelan kid because he's got fucking balls the size of church bells. You know what I mean? Walks into the fire. Wanted that fight. Good on him. But who was he? Look at his resume. Look who he's fought. I mean, he beat. I personally think he's a local kid too from Lynn. Kind of overhyped a little bit. Yeah, he beat him in a kind of a majority decision. But outside that, what has he done? And that's besides the point, right? That's just resume picking. Dude is a just complete, straightforward. It just comes. I mean, you couldn't pick a better person. And I'm sure when Boots watched the video, he must have been just going, "Oh man, this is gonna be easy." Just the way the kid comes walking forward, no head movement. I mean, it was amazing. Boots caught him with some big shots. So it's hard because I don't want to be disparaging on the kid because I love kids who show big nuts like that and just keep coming forward. Does it mean he's going to... I mean, it's a better performance than last. Doesn't mean he's going to go, I put him right now to take out Crawford. I don't think he's going to be able to hang around there much longer. It's got to be also rough on his system. And opposed, like, all right, for instance, I'm not any more convinced he'd beat Virgil Ortiz in a straight-up fight coming off that performance, only because that kid is just Virgil Ortiz, punching power, angles, just everything is so much better. But unfortunately, with his health issues, it's looking like he's done with 147, so I guess it doesn't matter. But, Virgil, I mean, I'm impressed with Boots because... And I saw him take some big shots. He's not really too big on the chin. But again, I've already heard that he can take a punch. Everybody around Philadelphia say, no, he's been in some good sparring. He takes a big shot. And not everybody wears big gloves, Some guys don't spar in big gloves, especially if it's far out from the fight. So, so I already know he's good and stuff. I just don't think coming off that performance and fighting once a year. Like, put it this way. Hand to God, 2 years ago, he would have taken that kid out in 4 rounds. When he was fighting 3 times a year, he would have fucking smoked that kid in 4 rounds. He would have been quicker and sharper. You can't fight once a year and not have it dull your abilities. That's why I hope Virgil Ortiz, hand to God, doesn't jump right into something big. He needs a couple of dudes to feast on right now. Like, that Stanioso fight should be just scrapped. He needs to come back and, take on somebody in the top 10 ranked, maybe, but not Staniosis, because it's been too long out of the ring. And I think last thing I'll say on Virgil is he's got to hire a fucking nutritionist and a strength and conditioning coach, because there's clearly an issue with him taking off the weight. He's doing it the wrong way, and it's really affecting him. And he might have some residuals from the COVID. But yeah, that's my spiel on that, guys. But how's everybody doing?
Pretty good. Pretty good.
That's good,
man. You know what? Who was training Virgil Ortiz before? Because now I think it's his father, right? Before it was Robert Garcia. But who was it before Garcia? Or was it always Garcia?
Yeah, see, Robert's not known. Remember, he had that other guy, too. What's that kid? Real hard fighting Mexican, but it was missing weight. He just recently retired.
It was Diaz, because he had complained that Robert had stolen, had taken him from him without his permission.
Actually, people are saying that it's Manny Robles. And not,
no, it was Manny Robles. It was Diaz before Garcia, and after Garcia, it was Manny Robles. Because Diaz had complained that Garcia had taken him without his permission. Later, after Garcia, it was Manny Robles.
You know what, though?
It was Diaz, the guy with the one eye. Before.
Yeah, what Jimmy said about just scrapping the whole Stanionis fight, it's true, because look at what they did with, well, actually, it's not. It didn't work out for Josh Taylor, but there was that fight with El Gato, Carol, which was it was going to happen, then it wasn't. Then it was postponed, then it wasn't. Then this guy gets injured, and then finally they just say, okay, let's just make Lopez versus Josh Taylor. And I think it's the same thing with Ortiz.
Was not ready.
Got that fight. It's a cursed fight. That's what I said earlier in the show. Some fights aren't meant to be, and that fight they're just going to keep making it and postponing it and postponing. So just make Ortiz against somebody else. I mean, Ortiz is just too big a talent to be standing in the sidelines waiting for the Stanionis fight, which is never going to materialize.
Yeah, and I want to say too, most trainers don't know anything about taking weight off. Most trainers are ex-fighters and they box, and then what they know from taking weight off is what they were taught back in the day. Drinking raw eggs in the morning and running, like it's so archaic. Like there's so many ways to take it off now. You know what I mean? And slowly, and where it doesn't affect your health like that. But if you start hitting the saunas to shred weight off at the end, and when you do take a sauna and you do shit like that, it also sucks all the nutrients out of your body, which then lowers your fucking immune system. So if you have any tricky shit going on, it just comes to the forefront, and you don't have your red blood cells. Nothing's all in sync to fight it off. So everything, you can get sick so much easier. That's why usually people, when they get dysentery, they catch other things. When they start getting real scrawny, like in prisons and shit, it's all tied in, the same shit, man. Your body just, the weaker it becomes in one way, it affects everything.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So he's got to do something about that.
By the way, shout out to Michael Poe with his super chat. He says, I'm still trying. All right, Poe, they don't, I know you have issues with your credit cards or something, but it's fine, man. I appreciate the super chat. All right, who else wants to jump in here? Jaron Ennis, performance. What do you guys think?
Yeah, sorry, I just fucking woke up, but
Good morning.
What's up?
Yeah, nah, he's a big dude. He's strong.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he traps the punches with his mitts. He's always looking to catch the shots with his gloves, then punch back. And when he punches in the latter rounds, the power's still there because he got a lot of leverage on them shots. He's got generous dimensions. So when he punches down, he puts a lot of leverage and he wings them overhand shots like with a lot of power because he's strong. So he's always catching and shooting. Against this guy, at least, it looked like the power was there and he was stronger than Villa. Villa was pretty strong, but this guy was stronger. So he's a pretty big dude. He's got power, but he does get clipped, though. He did demonstrate that he has a pretty solid chin. So he's pretty good. A lot has to do with the size, too. So, yeah, he's pretty good. He hits pretty hard.
All right. Any other takes? By the way, chat, before you go in, Larry Liston says Ortiz already said he's officially moving up to 154. I gotta look that up. If that's true, then that's good. Go ahead. I don't know who was.
I know Oscar said that. I know Oscar recommended that's the thing to do, to go to 154. It's just too much.
Good move. All right. Who wanted to say something?
Rare breed.
Rare breed.
So,
go ahead.
Look, I thought it was a good performance. The only thing I had issue with was he would throw combinations and then just admire his work, which caused him to get hit with unnecessary shots. But outside of that, I liked everything else. He showed you everything. He could fight on the inside, mid-range, outside. He's got power in both hands. Good gas tank. He didn't sit down once in his corner. It's tough. Means everything you want in a fighter. He's got all the tools. You just got to get the opportunity, and he can show you against these elite guys.
Should he rematch?
And as far as Villa, I felt bad for him. I thought that fight should have been stopped 2 rounds before, honestly. That was too much punishment. I don't think that guy's going to be the same.
If that's the, that's the pussy take right there to stop the fight early. I mean, these guys are professionals. They want to get that. They want to get that.
Yeah,
shot.
but if your fighter has no chance, there's no point in taking.
Excuse me, I'm talking. Excuse
me.
If he
has no chance. What if he has no chance?
No. That's not necessarily true. But what I'm saying is, when you get a puncher like that, these guys believe in their punching power, and it's professional boxing. I mean, you got to let these guys go a little bit.
Okay, but BDA, he was getting hit to the body, and the steam out of Villa's punches were just going down round by round. Especially in the 8th round, he has nothing left for a boost. He couldn't hurt him. So at that point, like, there's no point in putting your guy in that kind of, well, that's how you get brain bleed. That's what happened to that guy that fought David Morrell. It's no need for that kind of punishment.
Are you saying the referee should have
every
stopped
time
it?
they go in the ring?
Yeah, are you saying
I thought Villa was doing okay. He was trying to get used to Jaron Ennis's punching power. He was trying to settle in regards to taking the shots. So he's basically walking Jaron Ennis down, all the while taking some punches just to get the distance. And maybe that's not the perfect game plan, but at least it's a game plan nonetheless that could sometimes often work. You take 3 to land 1 by closing in the space on your opponent. Was he taking some shots? Yes, but I still thought, like, in the latter rounds, Villa was a little bit dangerous because his power was still there.
And one
that's
last
the reason
thing.
why I wouldn't stop. Oh, sorry.
Oh, just one last thing before I let you go, Jimmy. So as far as future potential opponents, look, the only guy I see giving Boots trouble is our prime Bud Crawford. These other guys, you say, though, he fights the movers. How many movers are around from 47 to even 60? Stanionis is a come forward. Yeah, Stanionis is a come forward fighter. So is Jesus Ramos. So is Earl Spence. All of these, Tim Tszyu, all these future potential opponents for Boots Ennis are come forward fighters. He's the back foot fighter. He just happens to know how to fight coming forward. So all these guys, if you want to say they're not tailor made, but they're come forward fighters, and I think he beats all of them. But
would you like to see a rematch with Karen?
No. Why the fuck do you want to see that for? Don't you hate back foot bitches, whatever you call it?
Yeah, but we don't you want to see how good Ennis is?
Would you want to watch a lion chase a rabbit? What the fuck when you see? We want to see a fight.
I thought you liked that slick boxing style.
I'd like to see rematch Karen because
if you're winning round.
Jaron Ennis can fight on the inside. Jaron Ennis can fight on the inside, but he can't. It's doubtful that he knows how to get on the inside against a guy who's got just basic footwork. Again, I say that often. It's one thing to know how to fight on the inside. The other is, can you get on the inside? Can you cut off the ring? And listen. At this point, if they can get him the winner of Crawford Spence, then that would be, forget Karen. But if they can't, I wouldn't mind seeing the Karen match. By the way, can somebody refresh my memory?
What about Stanionis, or even forget Stanionis? What about Butayev or Me Machine?
Well, that's the thing, though. That you mentioned about Villa's being tailor-made and all these guys being tailor-made for him. Yeah, but they're better than Villa. That's for sure.
Those guys are good fighters.
The whole thing about him,
I wouldn't mind seeing Karen, though.
This whole thing about him beating all these guys, we've already went through this with Spence. People kept telling us, he beats Porter easy, he beats Garcia easy, knocks him out, blah blah blah. And he not struggles, but he goes the distance with those guys. Specifically Porter.
He's way more talented than Earl Spence.
But nobody ever dominated Porter. I'm thinking, well, that's what we tried telling you. You know what I mean? So
nobody ever thought Earl Spence was some generational type of talent. That guy, he's a good fighter.
Everybody thought he was.
Oh my God! This is bullshitting now, dude.
No, bro, he was hype.
Can I say something? Hey, can I say something? Can I say something? Please, can I say something?
Let the man speak.
Go ahead.
Jimmy, thank you. You never heard Spence. People say that about Spence because I think you just started watching boxing around that time, if I remember correctly. People were absolutely on the Spence train. I was high on the guy as well. When he beat Algieri, managed to stop him, whereas Pacquiao couldn't. Spence is what Jaron Ennis was right now. So there was definitely, let's not rewrite history. There was definitely a lot of buzz about Spence, and we had to. I remember going into the Porter fight again. There were a lot of people coming into the chat saying, "Oh, he's gonna stop Porter. It's gonna be easy work." Blah blah blah. And then after the fight, they changed their tune. They're like, "Well, everybody struggles with Porter," and I'm thinking, "Well, that's what we told you was gonna happen." So just hold your horses a little bit.
I agree.
Yeah, he was definitely elevated on Twitter to the people's champion and talked about as a generational type. I saw many a times how he'd how he'd do against like Sugar Ray Leonard and stuff. But I just want to get back to Boots real quick. In that fight, I would have never stopped that fight 2 rounds sooner, because when you get a kid like that kid Villa, as limited as he is, he's got pop in his punches. So you never take a fighter who has that chance to take somebody out, because especially when a wounded animal is most dangerous, right? I've seen it so many times. A guy's out on his feet, but he's got zip, and he cracks the dude, and he fucking changes the fight. You know what I mean? Because he just hits hard enough. But also, I'm not down on Boots. Like the whole man. You know, because you said one of the problems you had with him, he was taking a lot of shots. Some guys need to take punches. They want to know they're in the fight. You know what I mean? But it's the question of where do you take them? You take them in the oven, or you take them out in the fucking on the other side of the counter where you can feel the heat, but you're not going to get burnt, meaning you're going to take some shots to the head, but you're not in the power range. You know what I'm saying? The sweet spot.
I know it's early,
So
but he looks to have a better chin. He looks to have a better chin than Bud or Spence. Spence, if you remember, was buzzed. He got hurt pretty bad by an African dude
But neither
at
one
the end
of
of a
them
round.
and neither one of them been down before.
No, they've never been down, but they've been hurt a couple times.
Yeah, he was
That's
a
a high level
How can you have
green machine.
can
Hits
you have
like
a
cement shot.
Yeah, but he also don't forget Gamboa had him on Wobbly Street.
What? I don't remember, Wobbly Street.
He definitely wobbled Crawford. Yes, he did.
wobbled him. Yeah, he
He
recovered.
got hurt in the fight though. That's
All
the
right,
fight.
hold on.
You don't get hurt.
Hold on, guys. Just 2 super chats here. Amok, thank you for your super chat. He says Jaron Ennis' last 2 performances make him look overrated. I don't think Rebby's gonna like that comment. Rick Star, thank you for your super chat.
Whatever.
Rick Star says Villa should pivot and move to getting cast in film and television as a stereotypical cholo gangbanga. we'll get picked up as the next Danny Trejo. Yeah, good point. He looks like a bad guy, but in the ring he wasn't the real deal.
Look, I'm not ready to put this guy on the pound for pound or say he's the next great thing. What do they always say? Oh, he's slick, or he's a come forward, straightforward, basic fighter. What the fuck was Villa? He was a straightforward, basic guy, but all of a sudden he was this killer. I don't buy it, bro. We didn't learn anything. You don't learn anything beating a can, and that's what this guy was a can. The only names that he needs to face is Queef Thurman, Earl Spence, and Bud Crawford are not going to fight this guy. So those are fantasy
Thurman
matches.
sucks too, though.
No, but I mean, it's a suitable name. I'm just saying, Stanionis, Queef Thurman, Crowley, but don't throw in Mean Machine. He's past it. That's another can. This guy's going to keep fighting cans. It's already in.
Mean Machine is a can now? He's coming off a win.
Yeah, he got beaten down. It's not going to prove anything. Not when he's already gotten knocked out. Like, you need to fight Stanionis, Queef Thurman, or the top guys. There's no more can.
Hold on. I gotta push back on this because everybody's been saying it for fucking years, and I don't get it. Keith Thurman is just as awful as any other can that Boots Ennis could fight. The dude literally has no punch resistance at all. He got punched once by Mario Barrios, and he almost fell. Like, he almost got dropped by one
never been stopped,
40-pounder.
Well, I'm saying as an opponent for this Booty Ennis guy. Like, that's a suitable opponent.
It's just a name. That's all Keith is these days, like Adrian Broner. It looks cool.
Well, what's in a name is in a name. Like, look, you know what Boots is probably going to fight is this guy Mario Barrios. You're probably going to see some whack-ass guy like that.
Would be horrible, but...
That's going to happen. He's not going to fight the top guys. They're not going to fight him. It's all fantasy fighting. Like, it's easy to say, oh, beats Boots them all, but they're not going to fight him. He's not going to fight him. They're not going to fight him. These guys don't fight each other. That's why the welterweight is a mess. So, these guys are fighting 6 years so late. But Boots, he's not pound for pound yet. Like, let's get off the hype train.
But brother, I gotta ask you though, man. Showtime's listing that. Don't you hear them talking about Crawford and Spence? It's the biggest welterweight fight in decades.
Well, that's their job, but I mean, I'm not buying it. I mean, they fought 6 years too late.
Exactly. I was joking. Exactly. I'm 100% with you, dude. That fucking fight's 4 years past its prime.
Yeah, I mean, look, we've seen the other couple of weeks ago. We've seen this Big Baby. He stepped up. That was a step up because the guy, I mean, he was a champion name alone, but we've seen him get worked. And Boots Ennis did not step up. That was a setup. It wasn't a step up. So let's stop this hype.
That guy's a Lukowitz fighter too, Samson Lukowitz. He's got his claws.
That guy has a good eye for talent, Jimmy.
Yeah,
He always finds these unknowns.
I just don't like his disingenuousness and his lies, and he says things, talks out of both sides of his mouth, and he makes problems for his own fighter, is what he does when he does that. I know he's trying to generate buzz for David Benavidez, but the negativeness that comes along with it is not worth it, because it makes people not like him. I mean, you just can't keep spreading this shit. And unfortunately for Benavidez, his father's just a parrot. That dude will say whatever he hears Lukowitz say. So when he's contradicting himself, he doesn't realize he's just parroting what he's. So, and then to get the camera on Dave, well, Benavidez, I have no idea anything what you're talking about. What do you mean? Your manager said that it's a signed contract. And that whole, they sent Canelo $50 million, that was all a farcical fucking fairy tale. He sent him an email, a proposal from Sam Lukowitz that he had to actually go on fucking video. So that came from above. He was told to do that. You think he would have embarrassed himself like that unless he was told? Like, get on there because you almost just fucked up the negotiations. I'm in with Canelo right now, and you're out there fucking trying to say he's turning down $50 million. So that's the reason why he went on that dude's fucking podcast and said, nope, Al Hamm and the PBC had nothing to do with that. It came from me. And he pronounced, put a fucking emphasis on me. So, yeah. So I'm sure he got his pee-pee slap for that from Heyman saying, shut the fuck up. He almost blew up the Canelo deal. Seriously. That's why he did that. But it doesn't make David look good. And I think David should put his foot down and say, guys, shut the fuck up.
Okay. So, Jimmy, you know your boxing. So forget the opponent for a second. If you think
all these guys on here know their boxing, though. Everybody on here, I respect everybody on
course.
here.
But you're the OG. You're the OG.
I wanted to speak to you specifically because you probably no disrespect, you're probably the oldest guy here.
I am.
So you've been watching it a long time. Yeah. So you, regardless of opponent, when you see a fighter show you all three levels of fighting, and he's pretty good at all three levels, meaning inside, mid, and outside. He shows you can do all three. How many fighters
there's no doubt. I think Boots is a great fighter. I really do. Unfortunately, but it's almost disappointing because I know I'm never going to see him reach his potential, be in the fights that I used to see growing up. And that's what's happened now. I'm becoming that guy where every time I watch a fight or a stoppage, I'm like, Jesus Christ, do I miss when I was a kid? When these fights weren't like, it's just crazy, man. And it's sad because he is a talented kid. He should be fighting 3 times a year, not once a year against handpicked Samsonite fucking opponents. It's becoming just a farce.
That's why you have the major leagues and the minor leagues. The kid could look great. He's hitting everything out of the park in the minor leagues. He gets to the majors and then he whiffs. I mean, this is what it is. That Villa was a club fighter. Or
it's another Triple G that had a hard time getting opponents early in his career.
And the only time you want to use the business. Yeah. Just stop, bro.
Well, that's the truth.
You want to
Triple G only got fights.
Go ahead. We can let Triple G is nuts, but we're not going
Triple G only got the fights when he started looking human.
But Rebreed, I just said I believe he's a good fighter, but at the same token, look what he just pulled himself. 100%. He sat there, he talked out of one side of his face too, and it wasn't so much talking out of one side of his face, it was promotion through name association. He was attaching his name to Crawford. Put it out there. Well, I'm ready to fight him. Just send me a contract. Saying all this stuff while constantly maneuvering, like not the way he says one thing but moves a different way. If you wanted the Crawford fight, you petition his belt, the WBO. You fight to be the next person in line there. You don't say, I want Crawford, and then we'll sign up for the IBF, which he's done for 2.5 years. Okay. He's fighting in their eliminators. But I'm saying, that's what I don't like. So that tells me he has to do that because he's not getting the fucking he has nobody to promote him. Let's be honest. Heyman does it. He doesn't talk to anybody. He just doesn't. So he has no. So I can understand his self promotion, but just don't do that. Don't because what it does is hype up people who, God forgive me, are dumb, and they're just gonna read a tweet. He wanted Crawford. But then slow down the way he's moving, dude. He's petitioning the IBF. He's going for belts that Crawford don't have. So just say, I'm willing to fight everybody. It's up to Al Heyman what I do next. But I don't even know if they can even say that without getting in trouble. I'm done.
Okay, but do you honestly think that Crawford and his team would have took that fight when they know they have a potential Earl Spence fight?
Of course not. Of course not.
Okay,
But that's irrelevant, though. But why attach your name to him when you know it wasn't? Because it wasn't Crawford attaching his name to fucking him. It was the other way around.
So you're talking about symbolism then?
I'm talking about name. So it's promotion through name. It's glory snatching. Crawford's a big name, dude. People say shit about Crawford. Their name gets in the press. People talk about him. So I'm going to make it seem like I was serious about wanting to fight him. We never received a contract. Then you find out his father fucks up and says, "Oh yeah, no, we didn't want to fight Crawford or something along." I can look it up, but it was something that he contradicted what his son said.
He said they sent it to Espinoza. Espinoza looked at it, contacted them, and they didn't get a response.
Oh my.
Okay. That's what he said. And again, it's not Crawford attaching his name to anybody other than Spence. That's the only name that dude's been calling out for years.
All right, guys, hold on. Give me 2 seconds here. I have a super chat. Where is it? It's Sursair. He says, Bucho, you need to keep plugging the BDA Gaming channel. Not enough mentions. All right, guys, check out the BDA Gaming channel. I'm going to be posting the link in the chat. If you're into video games, we're starting a BDA Gaming channel. It's on YouTube, and we have a Discord. Also, check out the description. The links are there. And he also said, Rarebreed also says, how much of Rarebreed's reparations do I have to cover to get him out of here? All right.
Jesus.
Well, everybody's welcome here. Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, let me say this. I think Boots looked excellent against an opponent he was supposed to look excellent against. I think Vila was tailor-made for him, honestly. I'm not saying Boots is a bad fighter. I think he's a great fighter. I think he's one of the best at his age and everything in all of boxing. But I just think against opponents like this, he's not going to get much better against a guy like that, because that guy was, and that was a walk in the park for him. That was too easy.
Do you think Alexis Rocha and Rashidi Ellis are fighters?
I think I say this, Rashidi was schooling Vila before Vila knocked him down. I say that.
He's a good fighter, right?
Yeah.
That's okay. We say that, but that's not a knock on Villa.
You're trying to use triangle theory, but it don't work, because if Villa got beat by a 7-loss Mexican, but then it's not gonna work. Yeah, he beat Guy, but he still lost to a 7-loss. Stop.
We talked about that, but so look,
y'all know it wasn't a robbery.
If we consider Rashidi Ellis and Alexis Rocha B level fighters, whatever you want to call it. Wouldn't you say Villa
still lost to a 7-loss Mexican? He lost. What are you talking about? He lost to a 7-loss Mexican.
You don't even know anything about that fight.
Stop trying to pop him up.
I'm not as high on Rocha as some people. I think he's good. I just don't rate him as high as some people. That's just me personally.
No one rates him that high, Jimmy. That's the thing.
I think Rocha would have looked better than Vila did last night. On Saturday. I think he would have.
I think that dude's tailor-made for Boost too. What the fuck is Rocha?
Everybody's tailor-made. Look, man, then why fight the fights? Stop. Stop. Let's not let them fight. Let's just
realistically, what can Rocha do to him?
He fucking beats Marvin Hagler. He beats Manny Pacquiao. He beats everybody, according to you. Dude. Is Rocha not a come-forward fighter?
Okay, hold on.
That's what we're talking about, right?
Every come-forward fighter is built the same. Vila is very unskilled. He doesn't come in with a jab. He throws mostly overhands and hooks to initiate offense. That's not what Rocha does. It's not what Stanionis does. It's not even what Busayev does. So to compare them like that is just, I would say naive.
Yeah, you can have more skill, but Rocha is not more skilled than Boots. He doesn't hit harder. He has nothing for that dude. That's an easy ass fight.
Bro, Breeze, are you trying to like defend Dila or something? We all gotta say,
He said Villa Madonna. He said Villa was Madonna.
If he goes in there and struggles with Villa, hype job. If he goes in there and destroys Villa, then Villa's a bum. It's a lose-lose situation.
Two things can be right at the same token. Boots can be a great fighter, but still not. But it still can be true that fucking dude isn't. And he's a tank. When I saw that fight, I'm like, oh yeah, that Boots is gonna fucking. This guy's gonna offer nothing to Boots. It's gonna be if I can catch him with a shot, if I can catch him with a big shot. That was his only chance. He's prodding. His fucking very, very predictable. Like he did everything the same way, never changed up nothing. Come on.
If you put a Tank Davis,
easy Tank.
But if you put a Tank Davis in a ring with a Villa or a Devin Haney or even a Shakur Stevenson, they're not going to fight Villa that way. Let's be honest. They're going to be on their back foot the whole night.
If it's the same size, that's the same thing. He's like a rolly almost.
Oh, no, he hits too hard. Devin Haney's not walking that dude down. You know that.
I'm talking about Tank. Yeah. Guys, Tank fought.
We've seen Tank fight big punchers. He's very, very careful when he fights big punchers.
Rary, you're trying to make a big deal out of this fight. No, Rary, that's it, man. Come on, you're trying to make a big deal out of this win. Like, that's it. And it's obvious. Everybody can see it. Everybody can see it. Like, that guy wasn't that good.
I'm saying he could have made that fight very easy and boring and just stayed on the back foot and won all 12 rounds, but he went for the kill.
I agree, man. You changed, man, because usually you don't care about you care about the sweet science, right? You don't care about the whole point is winning, right? You don't have to make it exciting. You don't have to make it exciting. All of a sudden, you care about exciting fights, about punchers and stoppages. What happened? What this metamorphosis? It's amazing.
If you've been listening, I've always liked boxer punches.
Yeah, all right. But the thing is, Robert, you're making a big deal out of this win. You're trying to make Villa look like he was some sort of a danger.
Okay, but we all know in boxing, if you see a guy with 26 fights and 24 knockouts, it doesn't matter who he's fought. That's a dangerous guy. You don't get that kind of knockout.
He is a hard puncher, bro, but he's not a good boxer.
Exactly.
Boots knocked him out. There you go.
That's it. It's an okay win. He's 26. Somebody said in the chat, multiple people said he's 26 years old. So, I mean, if he would have destroyed Villa when he was 23, it's part of the development process. At this point, I'm tired of this type of fights. 26? Come on. Canelo was 22, 23 when he fought Mayweather.
Tell them guys to sign the contract and fight him.
Villa's a hard puncher, but he's not a crazy hard puncher.
You act like there's people jumping out the wall.
You act like nobody wants to fight him. Sorry, go ahead, Gonzalo.
Not for the right price.
A lot of local guys over there where he's from. So he's a hard puncher, but he's not like a incredibly fucking hard puncher. Now he's just basically walking down less level dudes, and against a higher level dude, he couldn't land the shots that he's used to landing. So I mean, it's not like he got that one knockout punching power either. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Go to BoxRec, man. I hate using that, but Villa's opponents, man. The first 10 were 8 wins, 32 losses, 8 draws, but knocked out 9 times. You know what I mean? So, and I agree. If you knock out 24 dudes, you got power, but it's different degrees of power. He's not like a one-shot crazy power puncher. The machine hits harder than he does, without a doubt. But that's the reason why he has no energy after 6 rounds. He's completely fucking toast. Also want to say, though, man, Kid Schofield fucking looked pretty good the other night. I think they made a big mistake of having him headline in his own hometown. I know that wasn't the initial, what they wanted to do, but I think what happened is if he would have boxed and did what his father, who I think has got a sharp mind, I like to listen to his father talk about boxing, but he said it, man. If he would have just fucking, what are you doing, dude? Box. He was showboating. He was trying to put on a show. That's a lot of pressure on a young man to be that few fights, the headline and something like that. So, of course, he wanted to put on a good show, but it let him change his game. If he would have just boxed and did what came natural, he would have stopped that. He would have stopped that dude. But he's sharp. He's a sharp, and you can just throw him as another name. Tank Davis won't fight. That's all I saw when I watched that.
Are you serious, Jimmy? That kid is not that good. He's all right.
Who? Kid Schofield?
Yeah, Schofield. He's mid.
He's got quick. He's got quick
Keyshawn
fucking
Davis
hands.
problems.
He's got quick hands. I'm not saying he beats Davis. That'd be a good fight. I know he keeps calling him out. I'm just saying he's got super quick hands. He doesn't smother his power. That's what I was impressed with. He, like the kid the other night.
It was much younger.
There we go. That's what I just said. That's what I was just saying. Like the kid the other night, Abdullah Mason. I'm the highest on him right now. He's catapulted right now for me. That kid is fucking. If his trajectory continues the way it goes, I said it. I think I tweeted it out actually. That will be the first dude. If there's a guy I would say who's going to beat Shakur Stevenson, it'll be him.
Jimmy, he's got a lot of muscle. I don't know if that'll work against him. He's like very muscular, but apparently it works for him. It doesn't work against all fighters. Timothy Bradley, he got fast twitch. This guy looks like he got fast twitch too, but I'm just saying he's got a lot of biceps, a lot of chest.
Yep, a mesomorph body style, very thick, more of a thick style.
You're not allowed to praise anybody else today besides what's old boy's name? I already forgot his name, bro. Jaron Ennis.
Oh no, man. No, Ennis, unfortunately, he's gone to once-a-year fighter. No, but and no, he brought up Abdullah Mason, like I said in the last show. I don't know if you guys caught that fight. His control of distance for a young man, 19 years old, to get somebody hurt. Your first instinct is to jump on him. Instead, he stayed. In fact, he would get him hurt, and he would take a little half step back, and he would fucking pick his punches. Very, very mature for a 19-year-old kid, man. I was so impressed with that kid's performance the other day.
Tim Bradley went too far, in my opinion. He said he reminds him of a southpaw version of Pretty Boy.
Well, everybody's the next Mayweather, bro. Anybody who looks a little slick in their
Remember Adrian Broner. Adrian Broner was the next Mayweather. But
Broner was in there.
Guys, quick super chats. Rick Starr, thank you for your super chat. He says, Reverie, please say 3 times like Dr. Umar Johnson before coming to your point. Represent, brother. All right, don't do that. Please don't repeat 3 times what you have to say. And then Amok, thank you for your super chat. He says, BoxRec is overrating Jaron Ennis wins. Check Discord. All right, so he sent me, he posted something from BoxRec. I'm going to look at it, see what he's talking about, how they are overrating him. I guess he's talking about because of his record. Sergey Lipinets, Thomas Delorme, Custio Clayton. Can't read. Hold on. Custio Clayton, Karen, and then Villa. Those are his last 5 fights. That we're going all the way back to 2021.
Who is his best opponent?
Yo, what can I say? Boxing is an absolute shit show right now.
What?
Who is his best opponent?
You gotta try a little harder than that, Nargairos.
He's a small dude.
Bro, you gotta try harder than your grandma last night.
Oh. Well, grandma, hey, Nargaios, does grandma got the good gums or what? She take out her dentures?
Oh shit.
She got the Gennady Golovkin gums. Them shits are 1-2 and you're out.
That's funny.
All right, hold on. Amok is telling me to look at the stars that are next to the fighters. 4 stars, 5 stars, 4 stars, 3 stars, 4 stars, 4 stars, 4. I don't know. I don't get these stars. Who decided? BoxRec is kind of weird, to be honest, when it comes to like their rankings and. But no, I'm not impressed with his last 5 fights. Lipinets was a good fight. Delorme, no. Karen, I mean, he struggled against Karen. And then now the Villa guy. I'm not saying Boots Ennis is a bad boxer, but at this point, he's 26. I want to see more, man.
What happened to Gnarly Balls? Did he leave?
Yeah, he's gone.
Yo, so who's up next for Puss in Boots Ennis, bro?
That's the thing. Somebody asked, like, who do you guys want to see? So...
I really think there's only one name, Stan Jonas. There's really only one name.
That's
it.
Inoue fight somebody in August, whether it's Blair or Flair or whatever his name is.
Why? What do you
And then
mean he
fight at the
fights
end of the
somebody
year.
in August? What do you mean?
Hey,
Why does
wait,
why does he have
He's
to
fought
wait?
in over a year, man.
He's in shape right now, so he should
He's
be.
fought in over a year.
So
Okay.
that was he didn't care. He still was willing to fight Virgil. Don't make an excuse for Jaron Ennis to sit another 6 months or fight another Can. Like there's only one name. They both are on the same side of the street. He's from the PBC side, so it should be a no-brainer. Why are
If
you
you
going to
fight
accept anything
Stanionis
less?
right now, if he were to fight Stanionis at the end of the year without Stanionis getting a tune-up, he won't get any credit for that. Oh, he's been out for too
not any
long.
credit. No.
That's what they're gonna say. I already know.
Bag. What do you mean? It doesn't matter. So what? Who cares? Let's see the fight. Stop
Okay,
making
then let's make the fight
excuses.
happen then. Cool.
I don't know. You're his lever. Call him and make it happen. Tell him.
Let's make it happen. No excuses.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying because maybe Crowley. That's a name that's on the side of the street. I mean, you also have to think of the politics.
Cody
But,
Crowley, boy.
I mean, he's a decent fighter. He's a top 147, but anything less than that, I'm just setting a bar. I mean, the lowest you can go is probably Blair Cobb, maybe Butayev, but nothing lower than that. You got to fight him.
If he's world class level, he needs to fight a world class opposition. So Blair
Is he
Cobb.
ready
How
for
many
that?
world class opposition is there outside of Bud and Spence?
Think
All right,
about it.
all right.
The 100
Stanionis, Butayev.
is sorry, man. That
That's the three
division,
people.
that division
Those are
sucks right
PBC
now.
guys. They all fought on PBC. So
Okay, hold on. Is he ready for a title shot? He's 26. We've seen younger fighters get
He's
title
been
shots.
ready for a title shot.
He
Him
ain't
and
ready?
Virgil. They should have been champions by now.
I mean, ready as
Okay,
he's ever
so-
going to be. He's not going to get any better.
What's his name? What's that dude that fucking Rowley is a champion before Virgil and Boots?
All right, hold on. That doesn't
There
count.
you go. I'm just saying it's facts.
But that's like, hold on. So you're telling me you would like Jaron Ennis to get a title shot against an old man and a suspicious win at that?
No, of course not. But what I'm saying is that there
He got his title
guys
shot
as
because of
talented as
politics, not because
Virgil.
he was good.
Guys as talented as Virgil, if they were in other divisions and not to deal with this political bullshit, they'd be champions by now.
By political bullshit, you mean the PBC?
I guess I could agree with that.
Yeah, by political bullshit, I mean Earl Spence and Crawford holding up the whole weight class.
How was the Crawford holding up the whole weight class?
yeah, it's a-
He's had one belt for 2 years.
I'm not going into details,
But you know
Jimmy.
what's funny about that?
Jimmy,
too,
we're not going to go into
Crawford
semantics of
offered-
who's to blame.
Hold
But
on,
because you don't
whatever
wanna
it
get
is,
into who-
it didn't happen.
offered Virgil Ortiz a title shot. Offered him twice last time I checked. So how did he hold up anything?
Yeah, he didn't
I
hold
don't
up
know
nothing. That was
anything
Crawford.
What?
No, he did.
He didn't hold up.
That's
Well,
true.
the president,
Yeah.
the WBO president came out and straight up said, "We offered that fight to Virgil twice." He said no twice.
And I agreed with him both times. He wasn't ready for it. Why should he? It was just too soon for him.
I think
He needed
yeah.
to build up his brand just for financially. You know what I mean? I agreed with that.
Exactly. The Stanionis fight's a good step up for Virgil Ortiz. I don't think he's ready
Exactly.
for that. If he beats Stanionis, or I don't know if that fight's gonna happen. Oops, shit. Is my connection okay? Yeah. Then if he after he beats Stanionis, if he does beat him, then that's a good. It shows us that he's ready for a title shot, basically. By the way, he can even make 147 apparently, and someone's saying that he's gonna move up to 154. So there you have it.
Yeah, they said they had to like resuscitate him or something while he was trying to make his weight cut or something like that. Like he fainted.
Tim Tszyu, Virgil Ortiz, that's a great fucking fight.
I agree.
If Virgil can even fight still, but yeah.
If he's ever the same, hopefully he is. The more good fighters we have, the better.
How bad was it? What the fuck? Like,
Can I ask?
He had to be resuscitated back to he was out.
Yeah, no. Can I ask? Does anybody know? Did he actually get a shot? I know he says he caught COVID. That doesn't mean he didn't get the shot, because as we know, those shots didn't prevent that from catching it. But if you did get the shot and then caught it, you've already weakened your immune system, because that's all that fucking, that thing is. It's just giving you slight little, spike proteins of the fucking disease in your blood. You build up an immunity to it. So, but your immune system's weakened to COVID. So if he had got that fucking shot and then caught COVID, he could be running into all kinds of fucking problems right now.
I didn't say it was.
Who knows
COVID.
if he
They
ever
said it
comes
was,
back?
I don't know.
No,
how to
he
pronounce
did.
it. Like
But he came out and said it himself. He said he's not been the same since he got COVID. Yeah, he got it. He got it. January of last year, and he said he was never so sick in his life, and it took so he had the long COVID with the medical term, what they call it, I don't whatever that is, but yeah, I'm just curious. Did he get the shot? Like a lot of fighters did get it because they couldn't go fight if they didn't. So that was mandated by the sanctioning companies boards. So if he got the shot and then got that, poof, I mean, I'm straight up now. He can fucking
Actually,
it basically
Jimmy,
deleted Marvin Hagler.
I'm not sure if we can talk about that
but
here.
some of you guys, with all due respect, are assuming that it's because of the weight cut. Not necessarily. I was listening to, what's the name? No puedes jugar boxeo con Ernesto Amador, and a doctor specialist came on that was treating Virgil Ortiz, and he said that it's not really due to the weight cut. But then again, you never know. That would be a good thing, because if it is a weight cut, just move up in division. But what if it's something else? Like the doctor saying.
Are you guys talking about the Virgil being hospitalized?
Yeah.
Yes.
I think him being stopped 3 times in a row and saying he had long COVID and he got a sickness that can be caused by COVID. I think his career might be done, dude. He might not be the same no more. It's very unfortunate, dude.
That's terrible, man.
What?
Shut up, everybody. I know you happy, bro.
No, I'm not, because I want Boots to knock the fuck out of that dude, and I want him at 100%.
I think it's the weight cut. Man, it has to be that. Come on.
I don't think it's the weight cut, bro.
Well, the doctor was also saying that it has a lot to do with his style. That a lot of elite athletes with the style, relentless, like aggression, like that push the pedal to the metal. Man, it's hard for those guys.
What I don't like with the COVID, he mentioned the fatigue factor. Fatigue is usually because of blood pressure in your heart. And we know for a fact out of that study out of Israel, the most vaccinated country on the planet, came out, and they're the ones who did that report, and now has been verified by the CDC that it does affect mostly military-age men, which is Virgil Ortiz. It gives him that heart rhythm. So, and he said he was constantly fatigued. I'm like, oh God, because that's like something you can't train your way out of that.
No, Jimmy,
I just hope it isn't the case.
That is misinformation.
Yeah, you're right.
That's misinformation. We cannot talk about. You know what? Let's don't even mention that fucking thing here.
I'm glad I never said about
we saw what happened to the Second Renaissance channel. So let's. We don't know what happened.
Jump in, bro.
Could have been that.
And Jimmy, they also. What about those stories? They said that. When Virgil was with Garcia, that they'd have to force him to go home, like, because he's always working in the gym.
Think it's overtraining thing,
You
dude.
think he overtrained?
No.
Then they left, and they say his father is super tough on him. So,
not 3 times in a row, hospitalize yourself.
Overtraining can cause injuries like white tissue injuries because you become physically tired and you do something stupid. But usually it doesn't affect you where you get like long fatigue from it. Like that's like there's certain things come out of overtraining, but not what's happening with him, like these passing outs and shit. It's scary.
The thing about that condition, I forget the name, the Rumble something. The thing about that is it fucks up your kidneys permanently. That's the problem right there. You see, he might already have irreparable damage to the kidneys. That's something you guys have to consider, because I was listening to that doctor, man.
Yeah, I think
all of a sudden going to recover and you're going to be okay. No, that shit fucks you up permanently.
Yeah, I think he has permanent damage, bro. I think it's going to affect him.
And when you cut weight, like kidney damage is a very common thing amongst high school wrestlers. Would end up with kidney problems, kidney stones. It's very, very rough on your system.
So if he retires, is this the next Tony Ayala? Or
that would be trouble.
Who was that boxer? Who these boxers that who?
Torito Ayala, he was good, huh? He went to prison.
Yeah, he went to prison, came back, tried to make a comeback. He wasn't the fucking. Apparently, he was weeping in the corner. He knew.
Hey, Bucho.
Yeah.
Oh, I was going to add something. So I keep going on these like Sharpie channels and shit. And every time I try and make like a point, they say I'm trolling. I got the long hair, so maybe I'm their white Jesus. But I want to see Stanionis and Virgil. The thing is, since Stanionis has been out because of his own injuries and Virgil's health problems, I don't want to see that fight right away. I don't think it's really fair to him because Boots has had 2 fights and Stanionis has been inactive. So I want to get Stanionis and Rocha first. and then afterwards, if should he win, he'll be at his best to fight Boots. And I don't really think that's crazy because Spence and Crawford are gonna be tied down for multiple fights. So that's just my opinion on it. I think that's probably the way to go. But whenever I make sense, they just call me a troll. So what do you have to say about that? Would you rather see Stanionis after a Rocha fight or immediately in with Ennis after it'll be 18-month layoff by the time they get it on, or 20-month layoff?
Jesus.
No, I think he deserves to have a fight, bro. He deserves to have a fight, bro, because it's not like he tried to pull out
Exactly.
or even complain, bro.
Yeah.
I agree. And Rocha's a top dude.
Rocha's good. Exactly. So he's a test. He's not a bum. It's an okay fight. Absolutely.
Right. Literally what I said. Whatever.
And it's for Stanionis, and it's all Stanionis' own good. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you would think if Stanionis' people would say that, like, why put you in you've been out for 18 months. Everybody knows, he'll fight anybody, but you're just not going to be as sharp. It's just a fact of the matter. Like, nobody can take 18 months off. Like, I am shocked that Spence is fucking going into this Crawford fight. That goes to tell you, listen, goes to show you how bad Showtime Espinoza said to Heyman, time's time to make that shit because I need to hold on to this fucking gig. Because if they don't hold on to boxing, Espinoza's gone. They're not going to fold him into Paramount. He knows that.
I mean,
so
that's all the way true, Jimmy.
Doing all this shit. Of course.
They offered him the Thurman fight.
No.
And he refused.
What's that?
They offered Spence that Thurman fight, and he refused. The only person I'm fighting is Bud Crawford. That's what he said.
Yeah, but then right after he said that, they announced the fight. Dan Raphael actually tweeted out, and people said, he was told that they made the Thurman fight was next. It wasn't until after they got the Twitter response, and I'm sure Espinoza said, no, we're not making that fight. First off, Espinoza tried to pan that fight to begin with. Let me finish. He's the one who recorded the phone call and leaked it about, we're not fighting Thurman, like to put pressure on the PBC without actually talking about the PBC. It was very slick how they did that. But when he saw the Twitter reaction and it got absolutely smashed, nobody wanted to see that. Everybody said, fuck that, make the Crawford. And there again, when Paramount made that press release saying this is who we're taking over, things that fucking move, and they talked about the programming that they like, that they think will do well on the app, at no time or place did they mention fucking boxing. In fact, NFL, inside the NFL crushed anything boxing did numbers wise, and they cut them motherfuckers loose. So I'm sure fucking Espinoza having his gig there was like, and that's the only other thing he produced was the NFL. So they needed to put. Why do you think all of a sudden they're making these fights? Like they got Canelo over there for 3 fights because he's guaranteed pay-per-view money, guaranteed numbers.
Yep.
Well, so Heyman knows his ass is on the line now, right? That's basically what this situation is.
Well, his gig at Showtime, like if it gets folded over to the app without it, even still, it's still going to go on an app, which is hell and gone from Showtime cable. So people have, it's just what everybody shit on about the zone. Now that'll be the same thing for the PBC, the app situation. So, I don't know. I just not, again, and Spence could have made this fight at any time. Remember, all he had to say was, okay, I want fucking Crawford next. Every opportunity he had for 3 to 4 years where he could have made that Crawford fight, he chose to fight somebody different. Or not he chose, but Heyman put him against somebody different. So, Spence has held that shit up. On top of that, he hasn't fought any of his fucking mandatories in years.
Yeah, and that's my problem with this fight. I mean, these guys should have already fought 2 or 3 times. And now we don't know. I mean, Crawford at 36, all it takes is, 1 fight to get old. Though I don't think he'll be old, I'm still picking him to win. Should they get it on 2 or 3, 2 more times or whatever, right? I mean, you just never know if he's going to be the same fighter afterwards. So, I don't know. I think
he's taken a lot of punishment in his career. He's not like one of those.
It's father time is undefeated, bro. Yeah. He's 36 years old, man.
Yep.
That's right at the age now. It'll be, and it doesn't come on slowly. You know when it happens? You find out your legs are gone when you're in a fight. Oh, holy shit! I've grown old.
Jimmy, and inactivity.
Yes, that's true. Inactivity too. Yeah. And who's that Mexican kid who just came back and he retired instantly? The kid with the bad eye.
The guy that fought Lipinets.
Mars.
Yeah, yes. And he said right after the fight, he's like, "Wow, yeah, no, I'm old." Like he knew his legs were gone. Like your brain can't do, your body can't do what your brain is telling it to do. It's a scary thing. But again, Father Time's undefeated.
Yeah,
and he's
exactly.
talking
We're not even sure
ages.
we're not even sure you can squeeze 2 fights out of this shit, or maybe 3. I mean, it's
Hold up.
that's the thing.
But hold up. First of all, he's not 36. He's 35. And then
That's
number
still
two.
old as shit, but,
Okay, but number two, what do we know about Bud Crawford? He's a disciplined, dedicated dude in the gym. He's not out there drinking and doing stupid shit. So he's not a regular 35.
You don't know that, bro. Just because you don't post pictures of it.
No, I think
Errol's always drunk, man.
People talk, bro. If you're around fucking up, it's gonna leak.
Well, I guess he used to party pretty decently when he was younger, but now that he's married, because he says he just doesn't like it anymore. And I can see that. He's always in shape and stuff, and he's always training with the younger guys. He's one of those gym rats. Kyron Davis talks about it. Keyshawn's always saying, man, Bud's always coming down, showing up to the ring and stuff. He loves boxing. He'd be boxing if it was doing it for free. And I'm banking on, like my guy just said a few minutes ago, I'm still banking on him to win. I'm still thinking his legs are going to be able. He's not going to be the same sharpness as he was when he was 28, 29, but that's just reality of human nature. But I still think he's going to be sharper than Spence.
And see, that's the problem. They're probably both only 85, 90% of what they used to be or something like that.
Exactly.
So I think that's kind of the problem with this fight.
Still a great fight.
Like you can look at a guy like Loma, the next fight, let's say he fights Shakur in November or December, which is possible if Haney vacates, because he's kind of lowballing Shakur right now. If that fight happens, I mean, all it takes is one fight. You'll know right away if he's shot. Not necessarily shot to pieces compared to other world level fighters, but compared to how like Loma's viewed, all it takes is one fight and you're gonna know if it's done.
Well, the thing about what you just mentioned, I agree. But when you're fighting a guy that's like equally a little bit worn down like you are,
right?
If you were fighting a younger dude, you'd be able to tell the difference. Like, oh, this guy's slower, he's older, he's a little shop-worn. But when the two guys are a little shop-worn and they're kind of higher in age at the same time equally, it's remember Arturo Gatti versus Mickey Ward. They were both older dudes, but it was a barn burger because they were around the same level at the time.
That's fair.
Yeah,
I guess then. So yeah, I guess it's possible.
I mean, in regards to the fight, moving forward, when it comes to something, that's another story. But in regards to the actual fight between these two dudes, it's on equal terms. Not saying that they're the best either.
Right.
By the way, guys,
And Spence is going to be out for what, a year and a half?
Yeah. It's terrible. But by the way, David Parker in the chat says people hate Boots for looking too good. Yeah, he's laughing. What do you say?
I mean, he just did what he was supposed to do. Would Virgil have not done the same thing to this kid? Would he have not stopped him sooner? I think
what we're saying. I think a fight between Virgil and Villa would have been more of a dog fight. I don't know.
Yeah,
earlier. Who knows? We don't know that.
Okay.
We don't know that. So
I think he's shown it still, but I mean that's just my opinion. He's got the deal with Villa. Virgil's got an amazing 1-2, so it's just gonna be in his face all fucking night. I just think his backhand is stronger than Boots. I mean, I really do.
I don't think. I don't think Virgil's got the type of chin Boots has either.
How do we know?
He would have got cracked by Villa.
Boots rolls with punches and has been hit by dudes that load up on their shots. He hasn't been hit with so much sharp.
Virgil's got worse defense. He gets hit too.
And Villa didn't really catch Boots in the sweet spot.
That's what I'm saying.
It was always out at the end of his punches, or it was in too close. And that's credit to Boots. Yeah, he knew not to let him. He wasn't in a position to get loaded up on, but. Although I wasn't really worried because from what I've heard from people I trust, they've heard from people they trust that the kid's got a good chin. Nobody questions his chin down in Philly, which is a tough scene too. The Philly boxing scene, you get found out. That's not a place to go around, and like if you go down, people will know about it.
Yeah.
Yo, so can we talk about? Can we jump on Dubois versus Usyk?
Usyk wins easy.
I think Usyk's gonna knock his ass out.
Yeah.
That ain't even worth talking about.
Right. I think that's just a chill fight. We just see,
that's a bullshit.
That's not what we're talking about, bro. It's a heavyweight championship bout.
Can
Yeah,
you
but
guys,
Usyk's gonna whoop his ass.
can you guys fault Usyk? Can you fault him for taking this fight?
No.
You gotta stay busy. You're not going to sit around and wait for Fury.
And it's not like Dubois is a punk, you know. He's not a can, but Usyk's gonna beat him.
Although he is dangerous, though, we got a Dubois can crack.
Yeah, he can hit,
That's
but
about it.
he's just not. He's never seen the fucking footwork of Usyk. He's gonna be shocked when he's in there.
He's gonna get taken to deep waters and stop.
Yeah, I mean, you got people like
He gonna get cooked.
yeah, if you got people like the Juggernaut, I don't know why I forgot his fucking name, making, or just picking you apart with a jab that's slow as shit. I mean, just imagine what a guy does when he turns you and shit like that. Straight left hand turn, jab, turn.
Hey, Bucho, repeat after me. Skills pay the bills.
What's happening? Why? Because of Usyk?
No, yeah, because this fight is a perfect representation of that.
Right, yeah.
Skills pay the bills, baby. Usyk is way more skilled than this bum ass dude.
Power is skill. Power is a skill as well. The way you throw your punch.
That's more of a natural thing. I think you're born with power. Honestly,
I think
you can develop it.
Power. You can develop it.
Yeah, you can improve it and develop it, but it's something that's really born.
A lot of Americans are slappers, man.
At the right time, and you got to know how to turn into the punch and throw it the right way.
That's true. Leverage, all that shit. Technique.
Golovkin has a lot of skills when he throws his hooks. That's why he had a lot of power. Just look at how he turned on them. The elbows.
Yeah, but he also had great skills. He had a great jab. He actually had underrated defense. He knows how to ride shots. Obviously. So, Triple G is not just some brawlic power puncher that does nothing else. He's very skilled pressure fighter.
Referee, why are you saying skills pay the bills, but at the same time trying to defend Bill with no skills?
Because, bro, fighters like Villa I'm not trying to compare him to Maidana. Hear me out. No, hear me out. Fighters like Villa with power in both hands and great stamina, even though they're not the most skilled, they're still hard fights for you. You know what I mean? Like Maidana was kind of like that too, until he got to Robert Garcia and learned to jab. But they're very hard fights.
Hey, the difference with Maidana and this guy, Maidana actually let his hands go. Villa wasn't letting his hands go. He was basically walking Ennis down and absorbing the shots just to land his every once in a while. But really, Villa wasn't letting his hands go. Maidana's a whirlwind.
Let's just keep it real, bro. Let's keep it real. Maidana would fuck up Boots. All right, stop bringing him up. Rare breed.
No, he wouldn't. And let me tell you why.
You would knock him out, bro. So let's just stop comparing his opponents to him.
Maidana that fought Mayweather in the first fight was
first of all, Adrian Broner and Boots Ennis are way completely different fighters. He's not little like AB. He hits way harder than AB. Yeah, he does. He's a way more skilled fighter than fucking Adrian Broner, and not to mention he's not a fucking.
He's better than AB.
He is.
Well, he's much more active. Broner's he's in throwing enough punches.
Hey, Jimmy, be honest. When you watch both of these fighters, AB and Boots Ennis, who has more dimensions in their game?
I don't think
I don't know because he looked like shit.
When you watch AB and Boots Ennis, who has more dimensions?
Somebody that has some footwork, bro.
Hold on. There's one question from Rare Breed that Jim has to answer. Rare Breed, ask the question again, please.
When you watch Boots Ennis, and I know you've watched AB, who has more dimensions in their game?
Oh, Boots, clearly.
Okay, thank you. And then you add the fact he's a much bigger man. He's a much bigger man than Adrian Broner and Maidana too, by the way.
Yeah, Maidana's a smaller weight class.
Exactly. So he wouldn't even get credit for beating the shit out of a guy like Maidana. Like, get the fuck out of here.
Man, you crazy.
Common sense for a second.
Not beating on Maidana right now.
Yes, he would. That dude is tailor-made.
Stop comparing all of his opponents, bro.
If he is tailor-made for himself, it's fucking Maidana.
As a litmus test, he's your standard. You're only bringing him up. So
what made Maidana so dangerous? He could throw those crazy angle punches and have enough snap on him, but because of the crazy angle, you didn't see them coming. And when you don't see them, they hurt you.
Okay, but here's the difference.
He was tough as nails. So I'm just saying, Maidana, but that's not because he's not even at 140. Like, and again, he's just gonna fight. He's gonna fight better competition. It's true. He's got almost 40 fights. Whether
all
that's
I'm saying is,
or his people, they got to step it up.
yeah, of course. But all I'm saying is, unlike Floyd and AB, they would make Maidana pay for all those wild shots he throws.
Now he's better than Floyd too, bro.
No, I'm not saying he's better than Floyd. I'm just saying at 147 he hits a lot harder.
Bro, I think what you're missing is because like he really just has an eye test still. Like if he goes in there and beats Stanionis, let's say Stanionis beats Rocha, and he just goes in there and washes Stanionis, then we'll be like, oh shit. Yeah, if you wash Stanionis in 6 or 7 rounds, I'd say he's the best welterweight in the world. But like with a guy like Adrian Broner, do you know what his best
Stanionis is the measuring stick?
but you I think so.
Is Villa?
What is it?
Exactly.
No, he's not. But why
Villa
Stanionis is not all Spence or Crawford? That doesn't make any sense.
I think Butayev is probably better than Lipniets, and you know.
Yeah, he is. He is. If you could stop a guy like Butayev, that'd be impressive.
Well, I agree with Gonzalo when he said this is a very weak division right now.
No, 147 is weak. Yeah, let's not forget. It really is.
I want him to unify and go with 54 and fuck everybody up.
140 is fast becoming a fucking killer. 115, 140. There's a few of them out there that are pretty good.
Always been good though, Jimmy.
135 too.
Yeah. So, Jimmy, 154 too is pretty good.
Yeah.
Hey, so we're not gonna bring up how Boots looks like shit against a boxer with feet.
That's what I'm saying.
If looking like shit means you win every round, then I guess you look like shit.
You win every round, and the favorite to win a guy who came in last minute. Yeah, bro, they're gonna give you every fucking round, dude. Like, don't even. That's the stupid thing to bring up. So
Teofimo look like trash.
Just like Rolly said. Yeah, you're talking shit about me, but I won a knockout in my world championship fight. That's how you sound, bro.
What are you mad about, Sobers?
I'm not mad, bro. I'm just saying, dude. You're trying to say, oh, he won every round, bro. That's like bringing up Rolly's getting a knockout in his title fight.
Okay, I guess.
But here, I got a question for you, Ray Bree. Do you know who Adrian Broner's best win is? Because, like, just to stay, I think people forget how good Adrian Broner was.
I don't know what his best win is, but I would probably say his best performance is DeMarco.
Yeah, I agree. So he was on DeMarco was on a 5-fight, 5 KO streak. He had beaten Jorge Linares, who became the man at lightweight for, like, the better part of a decade or something like that. And he just ran through that dude. Not like, he stopped him. It was a violent fight, but, that's what ended up happening. I think it was the 12th round. He got stopped on cuts or some shit. The corner threw in the towel, whatever it was. But, yeah, Adrian Broner beat that guy. So just to say, at his peak, Boots is automatically better than Broner. Like, we don't even know that yet. I think people do kind of forget how good Broner was in the smaller weight classes. That's why we need a guy like Boots to stop a dude like Stanionis for me to be like, oh, shit, yeah, I don't think anyone beats this guy at 147. But we need Stanionis who's at his best and not off a layoff, a 20-month layoff either.
And I was just going by. I'm just my own personal eye test. Like I've seen what Broner can do, and I just said like for skills to his question. Jimmy. Like I believe that Boots has like he can do more things better than AB. But when AB was on his game, the things that he did do good, he did very well. But as you could see when he started fighting bigger guys, that's when he lost it. That shoulder roll, that leaning back, only works when you're the bigger man. And you get found out real quick when you start fighting guys who can just go over the top and catch you. And Madonna showed him that.
Yeah.
Good point. Yeah,
also,
I think
he shouldn't have gone to 47. Yeah, he's too little for it.
Yeah. What are people saying in the chat here? Larry Lopez says Broner has a good resume. Just lost to all the big. All the big fights.
Saying.
Yeah.
They all jumped to 147. They all went up to the.
Yep.
Go ahead, Jimmy.
You went to the money, Jimmy. You're right.
Yeah, I was going to say they all jumped to 147 because historically that's the money, in that area. That's welterweight's always been the big money fight. So they all ran up to there too quick. All of them. There's so many of the guys who did that, including a kid from Philadelphia, Danny Garcia. After 140, he never posted one significant victory after he left 140 back in 2013.
Jimmy, do boogeymen in boxing exist, or is it just money? But do they exist?
Like boogeyman being like a guy nobody wants to fight. Yeah, like I would say right now, Bivol is that guy. Nobody's asking to fight him. Nobody wants to fight him.
Exactly.
And his people.
Kovalev.
Kovalev was at one point.
Triple
do
G.
exist. They do.
I'm not gonna
exist.
call Ennis one if that's
But
what
you gotta come up with some evidence.
Definitely a boogeyman.
Yeah,
You gotta come up-
bring it back around to Ennis.
Yeah, exactly. This
Well,
is
that's the
ridiculous.
title of the show also, but I don't know if you peeped it.
No, but listen.
And much more.
Evidence. Provide us with some evidence that he's a boogeyman. Of course they exist. They exist. We
Rashidi
know.
Ellis at that fucking press conference before he fought Villa, he said, "Hey, you know this fight could have been made, right? Oh, well, y'all wasn't offering enough money or some shit like that." Keith Thurman has been
Maybe
offered
they
that fight multiple times, and he's turned that shit down. Stanionis, I think Stanionis was willing to fight Boots Ennis, but his people weren't.
No,
Man, this is the truth. Stanionis. No, let me finish, buddy. Stanionis' people viewed Virgil Ortiz stylistically as a more winnable fight than a Boots Ennis. That's the truth. So that's why they wanted that fight. They preferred that fight. Not saying it's an easier fight, but it's a more. That's the truth.
Yeah, that's a lie.
That was a mandated
lie.
fight by the WBA.
So who does people
Are you high?
in there?
I saw a cool video. I saw a cool video by the IBFP said, why is David Benavidez the monster? Because he went the distance with Plant, because he got dropped by Gervell Ellis, or he went the distance with that other dude, Durrell. Same thing could be said about Ennis, but on even a lower level.
That's another guy who's gonna get ducked. Who was ducked?
Yeah,
Benavidez and Morrell's gonna have that same
he's
issue.
a monster. He's the boogeyman yet, because he's never faced anyone to be considered
So
that.
yeah, I think to be a boogeyman too, you have to have it to where these are world-class fighters that are active in their prime or in and around their prime that want nothing to do with you. Triple G was that guy in a sense. Well, even though Sergio Martinez was shot to pieces, you have like guys like Cotto that want nothing to do with you. Other champs, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., who wasn't ever great, but like when you had like the top dudes at the time at middleweight wanting nothing to do with you, that's why he had all those fucking fights in Germany too until he was 30 years old. No one wanted to fight him. That's a boogeyman.
Nobody wanted to fight him.
But you had
same thing with Rigondeaux, bro. After he did what he did to Donaire.
Yeah, you're right. At 122, no one wanted to fight Rigondeaux after he beat Donaire the way he did. That's a boogeyman, to be honest.
What's it called? You know what I'll say? You have to have either like a long string of that or like a performance you had that was like so terrifying, or like something that nobody really wanted to do with, like Lara when he fought Paul Williams. Like literally after that fight, I think literally the commentator was like, "Yeah, it's gonna be a tough time for him to find some fights after this one, even though he lost."
Lara beat the shit out of Williams, got robbed.
Yeah, I thought he was gonna die, to be honest, watching that one.
Yeah, that's a boogeyman. Like, I don't think Jaron Ennis is that guy yet, because he hasn't just starched anyone in the top 6, at welterweight, top 5. He hasn't. So
well, let's look at the top 5. It's guys like Ugas, Thurman, Stanionis.
Yeah, but they're old and shot.
So,
even a guy
tried to fight him.
So how would Ugas go against Ennis?
Bro, he would starch Ugas. He would break the other eye.
He would starch him?
Yeah, he would.
Like he did.
He's 38 years old. And especially if he has that same game plan he had where Earl Spence would just stand there and take punishment, whatever the fuck he was doing. He's going to get hurt bad.
So who can he fight for a belt? Is he going to fight Barrios for a belt?
Probably going to fight. No, he's gonna become full-time champion, because basically this fight was for a belt.
They're going to make Mario Barrios fight Jaron Ennis, bro, for a vacant belt.
It's going to be like Cody Crowley or some shit.
In the chat, Shadow comment says as soon as Ennis fights guys his size, he will be Adrian Broner 2.0. Whoa.
The only thing he has in common with AB is that they both have to be African American, but that's probably the angle he was trying to go for. Otherwise, in personality, fighting style,
you know why I think Rare Breed, you really like Ennis? Because you have an African American with power and skills, unlike Tank Davis, who, let's be honest, this guy's like, he's overrated.
I mean, Tank does have skills. What are you talking
about? He's overrated. No, he's not skills. I mean, his biggest win is Ryan Garcia.
He's got skills.
His biggest win is Ryan Garcia.
No, it's something else. It's deeper than that, Bucho. It's something else.
Honestly, I like Boots Ennis because he's an entertaining fighter. He's one of those fighters that I don't care who he's fighting, I'm going to tune in. Same thing with guys like Inoue, Tank Davis, those type of guys.
It took Tank. It was some skill to get that fucking Instagram model to sign a fucking rehydration clause.
Exactly. It's like,
that's crazy.
I just don't agree with that at all. I think that's stupid. I kind of view like Jaron taking the same level where they're both powerful and they show skill, but we don't know how they are at the elite level yet. That's just my opinion.
Dude,
Well, the difference
Davis,
between Tank and Boots is Boots has got way more volume than Tank Davis.
and he's also got more confidence too.
Yeah.
Fucking Tank Davis was sweating Garcia. Remember he started talking about he was on steroids because he saw him with his shirt off. Like, dude, what are you saying, man? Shut up. And then come to find out, you fucking make the kid have you rehydrated. You made a fucking dude, a completely unproven fucking fighter, jump through hoops to get that fight. Imagine him trying to close a fight against any of the real names in 135. Holy shit. That would be fucking like pulling teeth. The reason he's almost 30, he's going on 30. He doesn't fought anybody since fucking Pedraza.
Not only that, he'll never move
Hector
up to
Garcia
140.
was a good fight, but he dragged him up in weight. And then the stoppage was so fucking weird because he was getting his ass kicked that round, and then the fucking crowd gets into a fight when Hector Garcia had his best work in the fight.
Yeah, but brother, my eye hurt, but it's okay now.
Right? Yeah, I don't know.
It's so fucking weird, man. What is that? I hurt my eye, but it's okay now. I'm what the fuck are you talking about, too?
Right? Yeah, that dude's fucking weird.
That was a shady, weird stop.
Yeah.
Tank hit him like in the back of the head, I think, and he just his equilibrium.
Yeah,
whatever
that might have done it too.
Yeah.
It's just a kid who fought his whole career down at 126. You know what I mean? It's just
30.
You know, it's not the same thing, man. Yeah. Well, he only fought at 130 once or twice, right? I believe, and before he went to 135, so he was in complete foreign territory.
Yeah.
But it's just it's the case with this kid.
How old
Did you hear Inoue's Japanese manager? They want to make a future super fight with Tank Davis and Inoue at a catch.
They could happen at 130, maybe.
What?
But I don't think Tank could ever make that weight.
Yeah. Well, technically, the motherfucker should be a natural 130 pounder. If you look at his dimensions.
Yeah.
No,
he's got a thick neck, though.
135.
Yeah, that's true.
He's good. 135, I think is fine.
Maybe 133. I know that might be asking a lot for Inoue. 132. You got to make some type of.
Why would
that's asking Tank to go down 3 pounds and Inoue to go up like 13?
Yeah,
I mean, I imagine
just even putting that out there.
I think,
bro, you complaining to me, but that's Inoue's people talking, so they're the ones that want the fights.
I just said I don't know why he would have done that. That's just not a smart thing.
That's weird.
Yeah, you know when you're about to fight Fulton, like you should be only talking. Like if somebody brought some other name up, the good manager said, "Nah, man, we're only focused on Fulton right now. That's our only concern." I just don't like when the fight starts looking past fighters.
Yeah,
we don't know.
Inoue's plan. It was his managers. Inouue didn't say anything about Tank Davis.
Hey, what's up with Tank Davis though? He's coming off a big win, right? So like, what's gonna happen? What do you think is gonna happen? Is he fighting again this year?
Isaac Cruz.
He's not fighting.
Finally,
I don't know if you guys have noticed.
The fight they placed on ice, they put on ice. You know, this great fight.
Hey, you guys might not like it, but Isaac Cruz, for whatever reason, that motherfucker's a popular fighter. Go on YouTube and type in his name. All his fights have millions of views. I don't know if it's the Filipinos with the Pacquiao connection. Maybe that's what it is. But people seem to like Isaac Cruz. With that being said, I don't want to see that fucking fight. He should fight Teofimo Lopez.
Isaac Cruz.
Isaac Cruz. Zero chance of that happen.
Isaac Cruz versus Gamboa has 3.1 million views. That was posted 2 months ago. And then
so we talk about Boots and his struggles with movers, but you could say the same thing about Teofimo Lopez. Some guys they do well when you come towards them. You know.
Well, Boots is a natural counterpuncher. That's what he does. He waits for you to make a mistake and he hits you. So if a guy's going backwards, it's not going to make him look good. And then again, it's the time out of the ring. Fight once a year. Your timing's off. The things that erode and time off are the things he needed to look good against the Karen. So that was bad management right there. I wouldn't have made that fight. Like you couldn't find some other fucking 160 ranked dude for me to fight. You had to get the one dude who's going to run away from me. Like it was just bad matchmaking.
Yeah, this is why matchmaking is so important. Tank Davis, they never put him in the ring with a slick fighter or back foot type fighter. It's always the same type of fighter. Usually a Mexican pressure come forward type fighter. Let's keep it. Let's be honest.
Yep.
So and they do
all
that in
PBC
order.
fighters fight Mexican fighters because Mexican fighters bring the money. Let's just be honest. We gotta be honest. That's
They're kind of putting that one.
Well, we're gonna put that to test.
That's a PBC. That's a recipe to make money. Throw
Look at
black dude.
Barrios. Kid's been on what, 3 pay-per-views? What the fuck has he ever done besides win a fucking junior title from a robbery? But because
we're getting off topic. We're getting off topic. Either way, what I was trying to say is matchmaking is important, and then
It is important.
people want to talk about, oh, he can't cut off the ring, but you've never had to see Spence or Crawford have to cut off the ring on anybody because they're in the ring with certain type of guys. And lastly,
no, Crawford,
does anybody here?
That's a slick dude.
Yeah.
What's that white dude?
Anybody here?
Okay.
Yeah. Last thing, does anybody here ever want to see Paul Butler ever fight again?
No, I'm good.
Okay, thank you. The reason I brought that up, his performance against Inoue, that was some bullshit. He didn't come to fight. He came to survive. And yes, I know Inoue did eventually stop him, but why the fuck should we give Karen any type of credit for doing what he did if Paul Butler doesn't get any credit?
Well, Karen was winning more rounds and landing more.
Karen didn't win a damn round, man. Stop it.
And he's all, but Inoue is also pound for pound, in my book, #1 fighter on the planet. As far as I'm concerned.
If he beats Fulton, definitely. Sure.
And also,
if he beats Fulton,
he was also rated by #1 by the Transitional Boxing Academy, ESPN, and a bunch of other fucking people. So my book is around some good company.
It depends what happens in the Spence Crawford fight. If Bud destroys Earl Spence, he's definitely #1.
Oh, I had him #3 behind
Usyk. 18 months, but the thing is, you also got to remember, Spence has beaten very beatable guys. You look at Fulton's resume. I don't think Spence's resume, like I guess at the very best, right? Obviously, Spence has a deeper resume, but at the very best, it's not much better than Fulton's. Fulton beat Figueroa. No, it's not, because Fulton beat Figueroa, who beat Neri, beat the shit out of him, stopped him, goes up, beats Mark Magsayo's ass, and then he beat Daniel Roman comfortably, who used to be a former unified champ at 22. So, is Danny Garcia that much better than those guys? Is Ugas, Kell Brook that much better than Daniel Roman or Brandon Figueroa?
Danny Garcia is definitely more accomplished than fucking Daniel Roman.
No, Danny Garcia, he's washed up. He's been washed up for a while now.
Danny lost too hard.
But
as soon as he
I can ask you.
Yeah.
But River, you said in my book, let's got some guidelines. I go by who he's fought and what he's done against the people he's fought. And if you look at the level of competition, Inoue has not only fought but obliterated guys who went fucking 12 rounds. Yeah, went 12 rounds again in his time.
Bud knocked out everybody at 147.
Jimmy, these people don't even know who Omar Narvaez is. Like, they sit there and say, "Who?"
Yeah, he was a great fucking champion.
You know who Omar Narvaez is? This dude was like 25-1 in world title fights. He's one of the best ever.
Yeah, that thing.
He's
exactly. This is the thing. Exactly. Listen. Because we know all these names in the welterweight division, we're very familiar with them. That's why we start romanticizing Spence's record. Oh, he beat this guy, he beat that guy. But because most people don't know who Inoue fight, like you guys said. They don't know who was the #1 contender, who was a former champion. So they don't know shit about Inoue's record. So that's why they're like,
you know what? This tells me it doesn't matter what certain fighters do. If a guy like Earl Spence's resume can be basically say it's trash, then nobody else has a chance.
It's not. No. It's not trash.
Nobody used the word trash.
It's not trash, but I'm not placing fucking Spence in top 3 pound for pound. Top 3 pound for pound. That's ridiculous. That is ridiculous. It's all over the place. Ring Magazine, ESPN, everybody has. It's ridiculous. This is American pound for pound lists are garbage for the most part.
Yeah,
it's a popularity contest. They're popularity contest. I don't think what you understand
is when Inoue was going to fight Omar Narvaez was one of these dudes who's a top 20 fighter ever in the 112, 115 divisions. He's like, and those Superfly's only been around for like 40 years, but Flyweight's been around for over 100 fucking years. This dude, his only loss is that you needed Nonito fucking Donaire, and Inoue killed that dude in 2 fucking rounds. That's when he started being on the pound for pound rankings. He killed Omar Narvaez in 2 rounds.
Never never been off his feet in his whole career.
Yeah.
And this is how
Never been off his feet.
American media works. Look, all of a sudden, how is Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford creeping up the pound list to number 3 and 2?
Yeah.
When there's still other guys that haven't lost that were in place already. Basically, you gotta knock one of those dudes down in order for you to move up the ladder. When you got fucking elite fighters upon elite fighters, you can't just take their places because you got a fight schedule coming up. Now you bill it as the guy that wins between the 3 and number 2 guy is all of a sudden number 1.
Gonzalo. I mean, you don't even know who Kazuto Ioka is. This dude's a 4-weight world champ, and he's a 6-time champion. Who's he's like officially only has 1 loss on record, but he should have 2, and he's avenged 2 of them. You know, officially he's only lost 3 times, and he's avenged 2 of them. And he's a 4-weight world champ. What has Spence done that is better than that? Is like he beat Donnie Nietes and avenged his loss to Donnie Nietes. Is anyone Spence fought better than Donnie Nietes? Have they accomplished more than him? No. So I just people don't fucking get it, man. They really do just be ball gagging on these fucking black.
He had 16 successful title defenses at flyweight, another 11 at super flyweight. His only loss was a 12-round decision against a prime Donito Donia. Never been off his feet in his whole career. And Inoue went in and obliterated him in 2 rounds. It was fucking crazy.
That this wasn't going to, in a way, even though he was like a superstar in Japan, kind of, and he was like a prodigy, people were saying this isn't going to do that much for Narvaez's legacy. The people that followed flyweight there, I'm pretty sure Omar Narvaez was a huge favorite in that fight. Anyway,
he was a favorite in that fight. He was a favorite to win that fight.
That's indicative of a pound-for-pound elite fighter. Spence has never accomplished or done anything like that.
Jamie McDonald was ranked number 2 by Ring Magazine. He was a WBA champ, ranked number 2 by Ring. Carlos Payano was 5th by the TRB in the WBC and the WBA. Donaire was the WBC champ, ranked 2nd by Ring Magazine. And he demolished them all in 2 rounds. All those games. Another guy, Memo Rodriguez, ranked 2nd by Ring Magazine, and he obliterated all of them in 2 rounds. Like
none of those guys.
There's nobody in boxing. What do you mean none of those guys? What? None of those guys. What?
No, none of those guys are anything compared to Stephen Fulton.
To someone like Villa.
Right, but that wasn't the crutch of the argument. The crutch of the argument was against Spence.
It's going to be the hardest time of his career.
I'm saying we're changing goalposts now because we were talking about against Spence's resume, because you said my book, I have him pound for pound number 1, and I'm saying set a criteria. Spence or anybody else.
I have never said Spence is my number 1 pound for pound.
No, but you were talking about his resume, and I was just saying against his resume, Inoue, nobody's done to fighters at the level of competition that Inoue has done and obliterated him like that. Now, if he goes and beats Fulton, which is going to be a great fight, right? If he beats Fulton, he cements his position at pound for pound number 1. Hands down.
It depends.
It doesn't matter if Crawford
I don't care if Bud knocks Spence on the 2nd round and Inoue beats Fulton, fucking Inoue is number 1. Hands down.
God, that's bullshit. What's the difference between what they've done? They've both been in 3 weight classes.
Oh my God! Listen, all right, my God, man. Seriously, dude, how can you say that? Here's the difference. In 23 fucking professional fights, and 17 of them have been for world titles. No, I'm sorry. 24 professional fights, I think. 18 were for world titles. 18 out of 24 world titles. 17 of them won by knockout. He won his first of 7 world titles in 3 divisions in just his 6th professional fight. He absolutely smokes anything any American-born fighter has accomplished right now. That is an objective fact. That's not even open for an opinion. If you look at your resumes and accomplishments and compare them, there's no comparison. So that's just, it is what it is. And nobody out here is on this panel we're talking is Japanese. So there's no fucking, bias going in that. It's just, how can you deny him what he's done? You don't deny a man his props who's earned them in such a degree. I don't care if Bud smokes Spence. It doesn't change my opinion. Sorry, bro, go.
So that's the thing with the rare breed. What you're saying is talking about how Spence is like this not even though you don't have him in the top 5, you call him a pound for pound fighter with a great resume. It kind of goes back to what I was saying with Fulton. Is a guy like Danny Garcia and what he's done at 147 or Ugas or anything like that, is that much better than what Figueroa did or Daniel Roman? Fuck no. I'd even maybe argue are at the best level that Fulton has beaten better fighters than Spence has, to be honest. Because Danny Garcia,
you won't have to worry about that because he's not beating Fulton. You don't got to worry about that. He's not beating Fulton.
Why would you move the goalposts about it then? You just before.
No, I'm just saying, you can talk about this little future stuff. He's going to be pound for pound number 1. He's not beating Fulton, so don't worry about that.
So okay, if he beats Fulton, is he pound for pound number 1?
Yeah.
He would have a good argument.
A very good argument. If he stops Fulton in 6 or 7 rounds, and let's say Crawford gets a close decision against Errol Spence Jr. who's been inactive.
Okay, and then I'll say what I've been saying. I'll say to me it depends on both of their performances. If Bud has a better performance against Spence than what Inoue does with Fulton, then Bud's number 1. If Inoue
you could argue
has a better performance against Fulton, then he deserves the number 1 spot. It's that simple.
Yeah, but being number 1, it's a combination. It's not off your last fight. It's off your career. It's off your achievements.
And Bud's already been undisputed, just like he has. He was
a 3 division weight champion in 7 professional fights. In 7 fights, he was a 3 division.
Politics over there.
Not different politics. He was so.
How do you know? How do you know, man? You don't know that. You don't know that. You don't know that.
It's the truth. That's why these fights are in the lower class.
Politics, dude. Listen. All those guys he fought, none of them were Japanese. So
it doesn't matter. The fights in the lower weight classes are easy to make, and you know that.
Just know
that's not a crazy ass statement.
To win, though.
Well, how's that easy to make?
The fights in the lower weight classes, there's less bullshit you got to go through, for example, 147 or even 140 for that matter.
Yeah, but that's nothing you can. That's nothing you. There's no metrics to gauge that, dude. That's just an opinion.
Common sense.
Well, no, he's right in the sense that
Thank you. Like y'all act like I'm saying something.
All right, so you're admitting that Inoue has a better record because he can get all the fights he wants. So there.
No, I don't think he has a better resume than Crawford.
Come on, okay.
Bro, he doesn't have a better resume than Crawford.
Like, get the fuck out of here.
No.
Oh, yeah, that's the one thing I hear about the Inoue detractors. They fixate on that, right? And they repeat it ad nauseum. Donaire, old ass Donaire.
Will Booth get credit for beating up a 40-year-old Crawford? No.
Ignoring all the other accomplishments we just went into detail.
Hey guys, there's an interesting comment here from Not. There's an interesting comment here from Not. He says, "Why does Inoue make the LDBC fans so mad?"
Who's mad? I'm just telling like it is, bro. I said if he beats Fulton more convincingly than Bud beats Spence, that he deserves to be number 1.
If he beats Fulton, he's pound for pound number 1. Period.
Convincingly.
That's your opinion. I have mine.
He have more achievements than
all these criteria. Off fucking tangible thing with metrics.
Does he have more confidence? Bud will be 2 times undisputed. Has Inoue done that?
Inoue's got better talent.
Hold on. Wait, hold on. Let's hold still. This is where I'm going to agree with Bucho on the belts thing. Are you really telling me if Inoue were to beat Fulton, we're really going to pretend that Tapales really matters after that?
No, it won't. But it's not.
Then who gives a fuck about the whole undisputed thing? He practically
no, but Earl Spence, say what you like. I don't care what you say. Earl Spence is on the pound for pound list, unlike Fulton. He is.
Well, you could argue.
So beating him is a lot more. It weighs more than beating Fulton.
Hold up. Errol Spence has been on the pound for pound list since he beat Kell Brook when he shouldn't have been there. They're just biased.
Exactly.
It's a gift. He hasn't. Seriously,
Errol Spence being on the pound for pound list is a gift.
He went the distance where he dragged a guy up 3 weight classes and he couldn't even stop him.
That was
everybody's been around.
Life and death. He went life and death with Sean Porter.
Everybody at the world level, he's
Sean Porter's a great fighter.
Do you know what? He's a good fighter. Yeah, he's a good fighter and shit, but he's not a fucking.
He's not a great fighter. He's a 50-50 fighter. Why are you building up his resume like he's some killer? He's not. He's not.
I'm not even a Earl Spence
Omar
fan.
Neves. Did you not just hear? Did you not just hear that dude explain in detail about Neves, Omar, future Hall of Famer, what he was in the lower weight classes, what he accomplished? I mean, does that not sink in that all the guys he beats?
Title fight.
Yeah, 25-1 in world title fights, and he goes out and blows them out. In 24 fucking fights, 18 of his 24 fights were world title fights, knocking out 17 of the 18 knockouts. Fucking Crawford's been in 9.
No, it's just
How old is
you can't
Omar?
compare. Oh, okay. Hold on. Before we get into Jaden Anthony, thank you for your super chat. No comment. Jaden, one of our biggest haters. Here comes another Jaden Anthony super chat. He says, I get what Rerbert is saying. I think if Spence was Eastern European dudes like Jimmy would be on his hands and knees for him. But at the same time, LDBC
Exactly, huh? Exactly.
Hold on, Jimmy.
Sorry,
You're gonna reply. But at the same time, LDBC channels are biased too, so I get it. So it goes both ways. He says it goes both ways. Go ahead, Jimmy.
Oh, dude. Yeah, you go first.
Okay, well, I want to address that because he had to throw that little dig in. Exactly. Do you have any self-awareness, Rare Breed? Like even a stitch of self-awareness? You do not. You are the most racially biased person who calls here. Everybody knows it. Everybody knows it. This ain't even up for debate, dude. You roll black. I bet black. And whatever. God bless you. That's your thing, dude. But don't go fucking throwing that moniker on me when all I do is throw praise on Mexican fighters, Japanese fighters, black fighters. I'm a huge Crawford fan. Above many of these dudes who call into this fucking show. So for you to turn around and say, exactly, if it was an Eastern European, and then to say that, dude, that just shows that that's fucked up, dude. That's like feminist, low IQ shit, dude. I always think you're better than that, and then you turn around and you pull that shit.
Are you tripping,
No,
fool?
where's your dad, Rare Breed? Seriously. What?
Oh shit!
But yeah, what Jimmy just said, you guys don't understand. I've watched a lot of Crawford's fights at 147, almost all of them, really. And he's one of my favorite fighters, and I'm rooting for him to beat Spence. And just because he goes in there and beats Spence, who I believe he will, from having an 18-month layoff, you know, even if he stops him late, let's say Inoue stops Fulton late too, what's more impressive? A guy who just beat, even though the Figueroa fight was very close, a guy who got the decision over Figueroa and beat the shit out of Daniel Roman, who was a former unified champ at 122, or a guy who hasn't fought in 18 months and beat the shit out of old 36-year-old Ugas, who had been stopped by Amir Khan in the amateurs and was a very beatable fighter. I picked Spence to stop Ugas. It's not because Spence is this world beater. It's because Ugas was not all that. He beat a shot to pieces Pacquiao. You know, it doesn't. You're like, that's why I don't think you understand when you say Crawford beats Spence. That's not the only reason it's seen as more more accomplished is because they put Spence up in a realm he doesn't belong in. You know what I mean? Unless he beats a guy like Crawford,
he doesn't belong in.
We could talk about pound for pound.
Rebby, you think that Spence deserved to be on the pound for pound list the entire time, right? Like when he became a unified champion, right?
Yeah, he's got the most names at 147, which is good.
Okay, so you're saying unified champion, he should be there, right?
Not just a unified, but he's basically run through everybody at 147. Outside of Porter.
So real quick, Fulton did
a lot of
shit.
people.
Fulton did the same shit. He beat legitimately the best guys at 22 besides MJ. But then again, Spence hasn't beat Crawford, so you could say the same thing for him.
Yep.
And he didn't get put on the pound for pound list. But Turbiev, again, he whipped everybody, and he didn't get put on the pound for pound list.
Here, Rare Breed. Let's talk about that for a second. You're right. Here's a thing for you, Rare Breed. So do you know, like ever since, so I think Turbiev has 19 fights or something like that. So his discarding his last 4 or 5 fights. Do you know his opponent's win percentage? Do you know? And Turbiev has stopped them all, by the way. Do you know his opponent's win percentage in the last 15 or 16 fights? If not, I'll tell you. Do you know? It's 92 fucking percent. 92% win rate. And he's stopped them all. And that's not indicative of a better pound for pound fighter than fucking Errol Spence, who goes UD against 50-50 fighters that have all fought each other, and none of them have proven to be elite fucking killers. There's not one person on Errol Spence's resume that can fuck with Donaire or Omar Narvaez. Not one. That comes close. Not one fighter comes close to those guys. And Inoue stopped them both.
And somebody just dropped me a DM. Fucking Haymnight's listening. He just dropped me a fucking DM and made a very valid point. If that was the case, there's already somebody there who's got blue eyes and white skin, and I could be saying, oh, fucking Usyk, easily, look what he did against Joshua. If I was that guy, like the person in the thing said, if there was an Eastern European they could be talking up, they would. Really? Because there is a Eastern European. I could be talking up, but instead I'm talking up the Japanese guy.
Jimmy,
So finally, I'm
heavyweight
learning
champions.
Rare breed. Loma is my favorite fighter ever, and I think Inoue is a more accomplished fighter than Lomachenko, even after what he did against Devin Haney. And I love Lomachenko.
Is that really?
Inoue is a better fighter. So we're not biased here. None of us here are pushing a biased narrative. You're trying to build up these fighters like Errol Spence who are not elite killers. They're not. They haven't proven to be. They've beaten 50-50 fighters his whole career. His best wins are against guys that have lost to each other.
I think what's happening here is that some people are having a meltdown because African Americans are not. They have good boxers. They'll always have good boxers, I think. But right now they're not at the very, 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 very top.
No, they're not. They don't
Japanese
run this. They really don't run the show.
Japanese and a Ukrainian are 1 and 2. Like
thoughts on this Rare Breed?
Japanese are 1 and 2.
Yeah. Thoughts on this Rare Breed?
How many Japanese fighters are in the pound for pound list?
It doesn't matter. I'm telling you.
We should have 2. We should have 2. We should have Ioka.
Who's we?
Wait, yeah. We should already have at least 2.
You
okay?
All right, are freaking out because then it's very important to have those.
Fulton beats
like
Inoue. There's probably gonna be like 6 African American fighters on the pound for pound list.
That's good. That should be good enough. So why are you freaking out? Why are you freaking out? Why are people?
There's like
why are people freaking out? But still, let's give you that. I'll give you that. Even with 6 African Americans, as you say, in the top 10 pound for pound list, that's not enough. You have to have the number 1 boxer to be a black guy. That's the problem with you. That's it.
Well, if Fulton does beat Inoue and Crawford or Spence beats whoever, that will be the case.
Yeah, in that scenario, you're gonna be saying that Inoue was one of the greatest boxers of all time, and now African American man should beat him. But right now, that hasn't happened yet. So Inoue,
he's already one of the greatest fighters of all time.
We're telling Rare Breed everything Inoue's done, how he has a better resume, and it blows out Errol Spence's to another realm. And he's not gonna agree with any of it. But if Fulton goes in there and beats Inoue, he'll agree with everything Jimmy and I fucking said. Yeah, exactly.
Monster.
Honestly, bro, I think this to me is more of a test than you should beat an old Donaire. You should. As good as Inoue is.
He beat Donaire at 36 too. You should killing people, man.
You wouldn't give Boots any credit if he beat a 40-year-old.
Fuck out of here.
No, dude, you can't say that, bro, because that's out of context. Because
fight anyone like that.
Even if Bud was still looking semi-decent, he's still 40.
No, bro. Before the first fight, Donaire he fought his way through that World Boxing Tournament.
Exactly.
And he beat undefeated guys to get there, dude. And then after he lost to Donaire, he beat some more undefeated guys to get his chance to get the rematch.
Rounds. He destroyed Nordine Bali and this other dude. He was comeback fighter of the year. He was on a 2-win, 2 knockout streak. Had reclaimed the WBC title. This dude was not fucking shot. He just got caught by a fucking monstrous.
Fulton is not 40 years old. He's in his prime. So let's see what happens.
My God. Why are you moving to a different point like that?
No, I'm not moving to a different point. I'm still not really impressed by that Donaire win.
That's just crazy. Even if you want to say the second one was
but the Danny Garcia, but you like the Danny Garcia win. No, but guys, he likes the Danny Garcia.
Donaire has been beat already. And by the way, I like Donaire, but he's been beat already.
But you like the Danny Garcia win.
Because that's the only thing you know.
That
he lost to the X-Man.
All the other fighters that what's his name? Jesus freaking Inoue had beat are good fighters or world champions. Just because they're not American and they're famous, according to like what makes people famous nowadays, doesn't mean that they're not good fighters. A lot of fighters that are good are not fucking media darlings. And according to like a lot of Americans, that's the only thing that counts. That's what makes the good fighters to a bunch of you guys. They gotta be the media darling, like Errol Spence, in order for them to be good fighters. No, this doesn't necessarily mean that they're unheralded either. They're good fighters. They're in the smaller weight division, so they don't get the notoriety or the attention that they merit.
A great example, Gonzalo, a great example of this is the Danny Garcia win that people keep mentioning when it comes to Spence. We know Danny Garcia was past his prime, completely past his prime. Donaire was better than Danny Garcia in terms of where he was at.
Exactly. Absolutely.
What's Danny Garcia's best win at 147, Rare Breed?
He's never had one.
Yeah, he had one.
He lost to everybody.
Donaire had just beat everybody. You know, Donaire was pretty much unbeatable at 118. aside of like Inoue. He had never lost at I think he lost to Carl Frampton, he lost to Rigondeaux, he got knocked out by Walters moving up in a weight class he should have never fought in. I'm pretty sure Donaire had never lost at 118, and he took Omar Narvaez's fucking O. This guy was unbeatable at his natural weight class, and Inoue beat him twice. So, like, I just think, and you know, Donaire's got another fight this weekend. What if he stops this fucking dude? What if he goes in there and beats this guy at 40 years old? You gonna say he shot to pieces still? Because he just got caught with a shot.
And not just beat him, knocked him out in the second round like he does everybody else. Went out and destroyed him. Yeah, fucking destroyed him.
And Donaire's a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Exactly, first ballot all day. And then, and what did he say? Gonzalo.
I was just saying, people prop. Sorry, Jimmy.
No problem.
And people prop up Sean Porter too. Ocho was saying Danny Garcia Referee was bringing up Sean Porter. He's not a good fighter. He doesn't have the knockout power. He's a football player, smothers his punches, and he's not a great fighter. I'm sorry to tell you.
Yep. I want to tell you, I got to tell you who you're resonating with right now. You're resonating with the same people that said Haney's win over Kambosos, because they fought, him and Inoue pretty much fought at the same time, like on the same, pretty close. Like on the same
don't know me. I do not like that.
Yeah, they do. You're resonating with Haney beating Kambosos as almost as good or as good as Inoue beating Donaire and stopping him in 2 fucking rounds. That guy, that first ballot Hall of Famer.
Wait. You're saying, I'm saying that
that's what you're
Inoue knocking out Donaire in 2 rounds is the same as Haney beating Kambosos?
That's what you implied, yes. Because you're
people were saying that.
That's a ridiculous statement. Why the fuck wouldn't he?
But you're saying Donaire, you say, well, I don't rate Donaire, he was 40 years old, but you're saying that because Donaire is the only guy you know. You've admitted in prior shows that you had no idea about any of those other guys.
Well, Jimmy, just look at Jimmy. What's his name? Garcia, Danny Garcia. It's a good win apparently, even though he hadn't done anything in the welterweight division since forever. So his logic. By the way, Jaden, another super chat. He says if EJ beats 40-year-old Pac, would it be a great win? Who's EJ? EJ.
Errol Spence Jr.
Oh, okay. If Errol Spence Jr. beats a 40-year-old, would it be a great win? No. But Pacquiao, you got to look at recent past performances, and Donaire was on a roll again. He was he had like a second wind in his career, a renaissance, and so that was why it was a good win. Go ahead.
Yeah, and plus Donaire had never lost at 118 before, I believe. He was undefeated.
Yep, that's exactly right, Gonzalo. That's exactly right.
Yeah, like that was some 50-50 fight. Like Inoue was supposed to win that.
No, he wasn't. He was favored. No, see, you're wrong. He was actually. People were saying that. Some people were saying this shouldn't even credit because this kid's coming up. Blah blah blah. No, the fucking Spanish kid was the Vegas odds-on favorite to win that fight. That was the fight that catapulted. That's the fight that got the hard boxing heads going, Inoue, holy shit. And then once that happened, then he went out defeat.
Yeah, you don't.
And he's knocking him out in 2 rounds.
This dude was unbeaten, had like a 70 or 80% knockout ratio. Goes in there and gets starched in 2 fucking rounds by Inoue. Like you act like Inoue was supposed to roll through all these guys in 2 rounds. You only do that if you're an elite pound for pound fighter, one of the best. Like you can only do that if you're one of those guys who comes in and is possibly one of the best or you can make a case to eventually be one of the best pound for pound fighters. That's what Pacquiao was doing in 2008, 2012 when he had one of the best runs ever in the sport and was killing everybody. That's kind of what Inoue's doing right now. He did it all the way at bantamweight. He's going to try and do it at 122. That's indicative of someone who can be an all-time great pound for pound fighter. No one is supposed to just starch everyone in 2 rounds, because if they did, then Errol Spence would have stopped Sean Porter easily. He would have stopped Danny Garcia easily if he was in the realm of Inoue, and he's not. He's just simply not.
And he's only done it at 147. Anyways, this is his 4th weight class he's about to try to.
Is Lomachenko in the realm of Inoue?
In terms of like what they've accomplished so far in their career, yes, he is.
Very similar because of what they accomplished.
Yes.
Yo, I just want to say that Rare Breed. Only reason Rare Breed knows Rodriguez is because he beat up on the Russell brother.
Yep.
And the reason why Lomachenko, I'd say that is the fastest person to ever become a 2-division or 3-division champion in boxing history.
But
Just to show you accomplished.
Wait, Jimmy, in the chat,
regardless of the robbery.
Jimmy, in the chat, Jaden is saying it's gonna be a sad night for Jimmy when Fulton beats Inoue.
All right. Okay. So like,
But it won't be a sad fight because I'm not emotionally involved in it. You know what I mean? Like he don't pay my bills. Like I don't give a fuck. I care more about my fucking cat being sick than Inoue. You know what I mean?
This is what people get wrong about.
You have a cat?
We
actually, I agree.
We quote unquote down talk these black fighters. What's what they don't understand? We care more about the sport than we do any other fucking fighter. And if Fulton beats him legitimately, which he could do, though I'm not picking him to win, then he beats him, and that's a great win for him. But
I'd be proud of the kid. Exactly. I'd be scared for him.
Exactly. I would
on him.
But when it comes to what Loma did, because Rareby wanted to ask if Loma, in terms of what he's accomplished, is comparable to Inoue. It is, because if you look at it, Loma got robbed against Haney. He beat Linares, who was on a 7-year unbeaten streak. Destroyed Corolla, former world champ. Destroyed Comey, former world champ. Beat Nakatani, who gave Teofimo Lopez Hill. He is the best lightweight of his era. And I will say this: if he beats Shakur Stevenson, should he ever fight him, and that fight happens, if he beats Shakur Stevenson, the only lightweight, in my opinion, post Muhammad Ali era that has a claim to be better than him is Roberto Duran. And you know what's crazy? If Teo had manned up and fought Loma, he could say this: I was 2-0 and I had his number, like Tarver did Jones. Or he can say Loma could actually compare himself to Roberto Duran at lightweight and his accomplishments, because Roberto Duran lost to Esteban de Jesus. But shut up. Listen, Roberto Duran lost to Esteban Jesus. He fought him in the second fight, got knocked down in the first round, knocked his ass out. He eventually lost twice. And that's one thing that a lot of fans of the sport are going to always have on Teofimo's, are going to talk about Teofimo, is why did you not give one of the greatest lightweights ever, a second shot when he was a close fight? And it really, why lose to fucking Kambosos? Why lose to one-hit wonder Kambosos when you could have won 1-1 or 2-0 against one of the best lightweights ever, post Muhammad Ali?
Why did he only turn up in the 8th round?
He just
keeps saying his shoulder.
No,
he had surgery.
I'll tell you. I just think he respected Teofimo's power too much. That's what it was.
Okay, there we go. Thank you for not making excuses. That's exactly what it was.
But it's not. But it doesn't change the fact it was a razor close fight, because once he did turn it up, he was all over Lopez.
Exactly.
And that's the reason why Lopez. That's the reason why Lopez wanted nothing to do with the rematch. The same reason why Haney knows that he got the gift of all gifts, and he wanted nothing to do with a rematch.
Too soon. I heard there's talks about a rematch, so don't.
It's not happening. It's not going to happen.
They're going to get Regis.
It's not going to happen. Are you kidding me?
That's why I was going to get.
They beat Loma to Shakur Stevenson. That's going to be an ass whooping.
They're going to do Regis to Haney.
Here we go.
Now Shakur. Do you know Shakur's best win is a shot to pieces Oscar Valdez, who looks like shit? Are you picking Valdez to beat Navarrete? You picking Valdez to beat Navarrete?
I am.
Actually, I am.
Okay, well, okay. Don't bet, because you're going to.
Navarrete has been hurt by his last 3 opponents.
Vegas money line has
You're
Valdez.
not knocking out Oscar Valdez. That guy's got a chin of iron.
You're going to get fucked. I'm telling you.
He's got more skill than Navarrete. Yeah, he's knocking him out.
Shit out of Valdez. Navarrete is going to destroy Valdez. So
it's not. He didn't even destroy the Australian kid that he just fought. He's not destroying Valdez.
Who do you got in that fight? I'm just curious. I got Navarrete destroying Valdez.
I got Valdez knocking this dude clean out.
No. All right, who do you got?
Navarrete really. You talk about.
And Gonzalez. I want everyone here to break down that fight.
This is a good fighter, but he's too small for Shakur. That's what happened there. He's too small.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, the skill level was crazy. The gap. That's what it really was.
A lot of this, I like him to reach disadvantage too. Like that's what a lot of these people don't want to fucking bring up. So Haney looked like this fucking killer against these guys that had his skills were fucking insane, untouchable. And then he gets his ass. He's got 6 inches shorter arm reach, bro. Don't be acting like you didn't think Haney was a top dog 3-4 years ago. You don't act like you didn't.
I didn't. I actually thought Loma was gonna give Haney a lot of trouble. So you don't know. You don't know me. Yeah,
level, he's a good fighter, Shakur is, but you can also say, okay, if you're going off these triangle theories, skill level there, but against Nakatila, dude went the distance, didn't want to trade because he was afraid of the right hand. All the while, Murataya KO'd him in 2 rounds. Destroyed him in 2 fucking rounds.
I mean, all that means is Murataya hits harder. Well, what's your point?
But he could have more skills because he stopped him. Shakur couldn't.
He didn't want to. If you listen to my words, he didn't want to exchange with
You think Maratala has more skills than Shakur Stevenson?
Against
He could. Shakur's too scared.
Okay, you don't know shit about
He went
Maratala.
like 70 plus times below the belt.
Yeah, he beat Lobo the shit out of and Contensal's a guy Loma would have.
You tell me he's
destroyed at 130 pounds.
You tell me he's that skilled that he has to resort to going below the belt like plus 70 times
exactly
to make it competitive.
Gonzalo, I want to add about Contesal because Contesal is a dude that telegraphs all of his punches. He only punches in straight lines. He's a linear puncher. He has no feet. He's not a lateral puncher at all. Loma fought that guy in the Olympics and absolutely annihilated that fucking dude. Do you think Loma at 130 would have stopped Contesal? Yes or no, Shakur? I think he would have killed him. We'll see if you're really being a man fan.
Maybe, but I don't know. I know Contesal likes to clinch, so who knows?
And based on what he's accomplished at 130. Okay, so here, Jimmy, what do you think? Can you break down that fight? Because I think Loma would kill him.
I'm just curious. I think if Lomachenko stayed at 130, nobody would have beat him. He was forced to go to 135 because nobody ranked would go near him at 130. Yep. Same thing as 126. Once he made like Walters quit, and guys just started retire from boxing. Fucking people were like, yeah, okay, no. So because of that, he had to go up and fight a guy like. Look at how much bigger Haney was in the ring that night. It was at least the performance that fucking kid put on was so amazing to get his age, all that shit, to get robbed like that was fucking outrageous. Made me despise the sport.
But yeah, so
Y'all exaggerating. That was not a robbery. That was a close fight. It could have went either way.
Dude, listen, come on. Well, it was when you have professional fighters, dude. Professional fighters don't usually say shit like that because they're like, man, I don't want somebody saying that about me. They just kind of hold their tongue. One after another. That was a fucking robbery, Keyshawn Davis.
Yeah,
he had that place on lock. Everybody. But they were what? They were all there.
At the fight, and you get a different perspective when you're at a fight.
No, dude. All those people at the fight, and they all said it. Then all the people went home. Robert Garcia, all these people who tweeted about it later said it was. They combined. It was the fucking Sky News. Listen, Sky News. Let me say this one thing here, man. 467,000 people took the poll. 80% said Lomachenko won and it was a robbery. 80%. When are you ever going to get those kind of things? Nobody worth their weight and spit fucking said Haney won that fight. Nobody. Even people who showed up to that fight cheering for his ass. Crawford's like, yeah, man, it just wasn't his night. It wasn't. He lost that fucking fight. He knows he lost that fight. It's the reason why he won't fight him again.
The only
period, man. That was and even if you lose by 1 round, I just want to say this: you lose by 1 round, you know you won. If you know you want to beat that fight, it doesn't matter if it's 1 or 2 rounds. If you know you won and they did give it to you, it's a robbery.
Dude,
somebody steals $1 or $5, yeah.
He was a 5-1 favorite going in the 12th round. And not only that, the only way you can have Haney outright winning that fight, which is just a laughable scorecard, is if you had Haney basically running away with the first half of the fight, which didn't happen. A lot of these black man fans in these LDBC channels said Haney won 6 of the first 7 of the first 8 fucking rounds.
That's so ridiculous.
That never happened. It was a tale of 2 fights. The first half of the fight was competitive, and Loma basically ran away with the second half of the fight. That's what happened.
Here's the key thing. Loma was the ring generalship. He pushed that fight. He pushed the pace. He connected the more fucking telling fights. Who was hurt there? Haney was the one who was hurt. Who was the one reaching out for dear life? It was Haney a couple of times because he was hurt. So on every metric, Loma was the fucking aggressor. But here's the key thing, like you said. Going into the fight, Vegas had Haney 2-1 favorite. Going into the 12th round, them same people said Haney needed to knock Lomachenko out to win 5-1. Like everybody. I mean, when you got people making videos, professional fighters making videos about it, saying how bad of a robbery it was, it's a robbery.
I hope you're not talking about Keyshawn Davis.
I'm talking about Keyshawn Davis. I'm talking about Shakur Stevenson. I'm talking about them all. Shakur Stevenson, man.
Shakur literally said, I went home and watched the fight, and I scored it a lot closer.
No, he didn't.
He said 7-5 towards Loma. Yes, he did.
Be the champ, I'd like to get it on with you. That's what he just said.
Yeah, because he's beefing with Devin Haney. Of course he said that.
Hold on, but if he
Not
said he
real.
had a
Let's not
second
act like
fight for
Shakur
Loma,
is
that means he had a
unbiased.
The
win.
only reason Shakur is even saying that fight was close to begin with is so that the fight can be a little bit like better, so more promoted because no one's
So
gonna want
also
to
he's
watch.
gassing up
Haney fight
Lomachenko so he can
Same
fight him and
tribute
beat
to
him
fucking
worse
Sam.
than Devin.
But he still no.
I made
When
him
you
look
think he's
good.
going to the ring and say that? You know what? He knew the shit he was going to catch from the fucking his community, and he did. That's why he went back
He
and
doesn't
said
give a
what he
fuck about
said.
that shit.
Oh, come on, dude. Are you kidding me? Just because he gave props
You look
to
at his
Spanish
actions. He
father,
obviously doesn't care.
just because he said, I give props to my Puerto Rican father, there was a plethora of videos made about him. And they were fucking hating on that kid for saying that. So he knew the shit he was going to catch for going against the fucking black fighter.
Jimmy, you know what's crazy? When they hate on, like, especially when these black people hate on Puerto Rican fighters, especially like his father. Dude, most Puerto Ricans are black in some way. Most Puerto Ricans have black or African admixture in their blood, at least 20 to 30%. At least, like almost every single Puerto Rican has a black or multiple black ancestors. So like they're hating on their own fucking people, which is crazy. So like that's laughable too. I guess
Shame.
he's just not black enough.
Shame.
But yeah, so that's why you see a lot of these, fighters. A lot of these Puerto Ricans are usually taller than most Hispanics because they have a lot more black and white admixture, and they just tend to be taller.
Right.
Like that's just
Bud Crawford straight up said he's my guy. Haney's my guy, but yeah, those cards were fucked up and shit. He knew fucking Loma won. Anybody with the fucking everybody, fucking every decent fucking person who writes for a living who gets paid for their opinion. Right across the board said Lomachenko won that fight. I mean, there's no question asked. Loma won that fucking fight.
Yeah,
what degree you want to say he won is maybe up to debate, but he won that fight. Period.
So here, Bucho, I want to ask, can you name like 5 fighters like post Muhammad Ali that have accomplished more at lightweight than Loma? I just can't. Like obviously there's some you can talk about, Roberto Duran, obviously Pernell Whitaker, what Shane Mosley did in his prime, killing everybody. But I don't think he fought the guys that Loma fought. Like I don't know. What do you think about that? Can you name anyone that's really, aside of those 3 guys, is there any other lightweight that's accomplished what they have at lightweight more than what Loma's done, or no? I don't think so personally.
What has he done at lightweight?
I mean,
So I'll tell you. So
that I remember. Sugar Shane Mosley was pretty explosive in that division. He's pretty good.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
He's done more than Duran? Is that, or you said the last?
No, I never said that. I said if he had rematched Tio and beat Tio, he would be up there with accomplished a 1A, 1B as much as Duran. Because Duran lost at lightweight too. You're supposed to fucking lose when you fight the best. And he avenged his loss twice. So he got, because you wouldn't know that, but he did lose lightweight.
So you're saying hypothetical stuff.
No, I'm saying
he would have beat Tio.
No, forget about hypotheticals and fantasy matches. Just let's look at Lomachenko's career. It's pretty impressive what he did. Right, so in 13 fights, he accomplished a lot. And not only that, he completely dominated those opponents for the most part. He made them quit.
So I'm going to tell you what he did, Rare Breed. So so this is Loma's career. He has the win over the best featherweight of his era. He is the number 1 guy at 130 pounds. So he's the best junior lightweight of his era, and he's the consensus best lightweight of his era, even though he lost to Teofimo Lopez. No one's accomplished more than Loma at lightweight. So his career, he has the best win over the best featherweight of his era, and he's the number 1 guy at 130 and 135. And people want to make excuses after the fight. So let's look at a guy like Guillermo Rigondeaux, for example. People want to make excuses for, Rigondeaux was too small. He called him out for years. All the LDBC, the Lick Deontay's Balls crew, all said, Guillermo Rigondeaux is going to knock Loma's jaw out. And that's what they said, right? And he never even got Loma out of first gear. And Guillermo Rigondeaux was a legitimate boogeyman at junior featherweight. He beat everybody, was unapologetically avoided. The Ring Magazine has Guillermo Rigondeaux as a top 5 junior featherweight ever. And he never even got Loma out of first fucking gear. He got schooled by his lack of skill, not size. He got dominated by a guy who didn't get out of first gear. And Loma goes up there, shows how great he is with the same size disadvantage, if not bigger, against Haney, and whoops his ass at 35 years old. That's indicative of an all-time great fighter, period. There
was a much bigger size disparity between Haney and Lomachenko than there ever was between Lomachenko and Rigondeaux. And Lomachenko purposely didn't use his size. It wasn't a size thing. He didn't try to wrestle him or do anything. And if you look at him standing face to face, their shoulders are almost at the same level. Loma's got like a much longer neck and shit than him, but their arm length was almost identical. It was nothing to do with, like, for instance, Spence there was a much greater size disparity between Spence Garcia than there was between Lomachenko and Rigondeaux. But again, nobody credited him for that. And he even said himself, I'm not even going to credit myself with it, because he knew he wasn't going to get it. He saw what he was up against. He saw what he was up against, the vitriol, the hate. That all started, Ring IQ broke it down. He did it. Well, I'm just going to say real quick, he broke it down. He said, listen, after he beat Gary Russell Jr., that was it. The fucking bobs were out for that dude. Yeah. And he said, you saw it.
And when you beat guys like Nicholas Walters, who was pretty much undefeated, he had beat Nonito Donaire, even though Nonito gave him trouble. Nonito Donaire was still a first ballot Hall of Famer, and even proven it before fighting him. He beats Nonito Donaire. His only draw was against Jason Sosa, which many people believed Walters won, right? And then he goes in there and just gets dominated by Lomachenko. Doesn't even win a round. And Nicholas Walters was a legitimate boogeyman. Tank Davis was always the fight these guys.
The best part of that Loma fight against Walters was the end of the 7th round. Loma had just started tearing on him. And then as he's walking away back to his ring, his bench, he points to him and he gives him that dum like he kind of points with his gloves. Ha ha ha! I got you, fucking. And then it was the reaction of Walters was perfect. Just rolls his shoulders up and turns his head to the side, goes, I'm done. Bucks over his corner, doesn't go to sit down, stands there and goes, no, I'm done. This is it.
Exactly.
And then quit boxing.
That was impressive.
Round, and he did, and he quit. Because he was scared of getting his ass whooped bad by
he was getting embarrassed.
He was a great power puncher.
Getting embarrassed.
Skill-wise, he wasn't much. Like, let's be honest.
It doesn't. He was banging everybody out, but he was roasting dudes with his power. But the point being, he'd rather go out there and, like you said, I'd rather just get knocked out. But I don't want to get embarrassed. A fighter doesn't want to get embarrassed.
Yeah,
it's like playing hockey and playing against somebody who's putting the puck between your legs. Or like a guy in basketball who's just like dribbling around you, making you look like a fucking fool. You don't want to do it.
Yeah, bro, I'm not going to deny. Yeah, Loma is a special fighter. There's no doubt about it. Even like just watch the Devin Haney fight is proof. As big as Devin Haney is.
But that wasn't around him, though. That wasn't what was being said around him, though. And I'll give you credit because you're one of the few fucking dudes who'll say it. You go on most of them, he's trash, he's fucking overrated, hype job.
Rebrid has said he's overrated. You said he's overrated. Rebrid, you're changing your tune. You're changing your tune all of a sudden. You've been saying all along he's overrated. You've been saying he was overrated. You were actually tagging up, tag teaming with this other guy. What's his name again? The Australian that's on the show here. Mirage. You were tag teaming when it came to like Lomachenko bashing. So come on. And by the way, we have Jaden in the Jaden in the chat says
I just don't think he beat. I just don't. No, when I was saying he was overrated, let me be very, very clear. When I say he was being overrated, at the peak of Loma's low run or whatever, there were people saying that he would beat Floyd Mayweather in his prime.
He could.
See, when they start saying shit like that, you're overrating him. I'm sorry.
So you're telling me that Floyd?
Let's get that right.
So Floyd went 1-1 with Castillo, and he beats.
You're really this one.
But because some dude fucking Green Fist 99 on Twitter with his 29 followers. Makes a comment like that.
Yeah,
that's the reason why people across the board just say he's overrated. Come on, guys.
It's an excuse. It's an excuse. It's ridiculous. I don't even think
all I'm saying is you're overrating him if you say things like that. That's all.
Who's saying it though? The context. Who said it?
Possible.
It was a couple people. Like
he's not
there's literally a whole video on YouTube about a fantasy matchup with Floyd and Lomachenko.
Jimmy, Jaden is saying Jimmy uses Hagler as his "I'm not racist" card.
Oh shit!
What the fuck is he talking about, dude? Dude, listen. Why don't you just stay in your chat, guy? Because clearly, you know, if you were to come on here, I'll send you packing. So you're gonna sit there and throw your fucking. How much does he give you in money, dude? I'll pay double. Fucking, you don't have to read his fucking idiot fucking takes. Seriously.
It's ridiculous, man.
I'm gonna say something. You know, I'll tell you what, dude. Once you go out and get a girl, go out, go to the mall, go fuck with somebody in person. Have the nuts. Keyboard fucking tough guys. Oh, Jimmy's a racist because he likes Marvin Hagler. Fuck out of here.
He's a professional troll. People are saying Jaden is a kid.
I got him.
I mean, yeah, it's terrible.
Dude, his best win at 130 was against.
I love the Boston accent. Go ahead.
Oh my god. Anyways, here, hold on. I'm talking about Floyd. His best win at 130 was Diego Corrales, and people act like Diego Corrales was his absolute world beater. He had one really good win against Robert Garcia. It was 32-0. But other than that,
I don't care about who's best win, best nothing. Look at them scale by scale, side by side. He's not fucking with Floyd.
He does beat him once. And he
And
gets
I like
stopped. They both
Lomachenko,
stopped.
but not only is he more skilled than Loma, but he's a bigger man. It's not a fair fight.
Diego Corrales is a fighter
Be
that
honest.
was very. He lost to Joel Casamayor. Legitimately, he got stopped too, I believe, by him. He lost to Jose Luis Castillo, and he lost to Floyd Mayweather. And he wasn't this proven pound for pound elite Hall of Fame fighter when Floyd fought him. He wasn't. He just was never that guy.
Your favorite fighder. I know Loma's your favorite fighter, but he's not beating Floyd. Okay.
No, it's not a fit. It's not even a comparison because they're too big. I mean, Floyd's too big for him. He was never that small.
Not only is he too big for Loma, but he's too skilled for Loma. It's a double entendre.
No, if they were the same size, the same height, you don't know that. If they were the same height, prime to prime.
For one, Loma can't fight off the back foot.
Floyd could beat Loma,
That's true.
sure, but
that is very true. Loma can't fight off the back foot. You know that.
No, that's not true.
Loma's strong.
You know why he doesn't fight off the back foot, Rare Breed? Because that's not indicative. When you fight bigger guys that are taller than you and longer than you, you pretty much almost never fight off the back foot. At the world level, Floyd Mayweather never fought someone taller and bigger than him and longer than him. That's why he was able to always fight on the back foot because of his dimensions and his length. Do you understand? If Floyd Mayweather went up to middleweight and fought, or even fought guys like Paul Williams or Antonio Margarito, it'd be much harder for him to fight on the back foot, and he knew that, which is why he avoided them and never.
Well, the shoulder roll is a very hard thing to do. With a taller guy that can reach over the top. But yeah, no. And Floyd, listen, that performance against it was unbelievable performance, and I admit that, and I say it all the time. One of the best performances I've ever seen. But that was at 130 and stuff. And he's a great fighter, yeah. But I'm not gonna say prime to prime. But they weren't. I don't like comparing guys who aren't the same size because it's like, well, if they have to say, well, to look at their skills at their prime, it's just. Yeah, it would be a great fight if they were both the exact same size in their prime.
And I'm asking you both. I
would say Floyd's got great defense. His defense, I would rate Floyd's defense ability to step away from a punch, not get hit, better than Lomachenko. His conditioning is second to none. But anything else, it would be like I'd have to sit down and really look at it. Punching.
So Bucho, you never trained
footwork angles.
Do you think it's
footwork angles, all that shit.
What are you saying?
I'll answer for Floyd. Who's got more pop in the lower weight classes, Floyd or Lomachenko?
Well, Loma stopped everybody at 130.
Loma.
So
I'd say Loma. Loma fucking could crack.
Yeah.
Well, for 2 at 130.
But again, it's that's where he started. It was 130 because he's a bigger guy. It's not the fighter to compare about. You compare him against guys at 130 and 126. Who at 126 in their prime beats Loma, who's a world class fighter.
All time or like right now? Are we talking all time or what?
Maybe Barrera, maybe Morales.
You talking about right now or all time, Jimmy?
Pacquiao. You said what?
I'm saying Lomachenko in his prime there's certain fighters, no matter what era they competed in, would have been a dominant fighter. Lomachenko could have fought in the 80s at 126 and would have been dominant.
Hey, that guy that brought up that Floyd never fought tall fighters or guys with long reacher than him. Well, guess what? Ever since Lomachenko struggled with Salido, he has yet to fight a Mexican pressure fighter.
Okay.
So I'm saying, let's not try to put Floyd in that box.
Salido came off of beating Juanma, who's a 2-weight world champ, cusp of the pound for pound. He was the man at featherweight. Let's get that out of the way. He was the man at featherweight. Juanma was 9-0, 8 KOs, 2-weight world champ. Beats his ass.
Why did he fight another Mexican after that?
Knocks him out twice. He comes in 4 pounds overweight. Low blows him 40 times. He gets his ass kicked in the second half of the fight. And when they were going toe to toe, Loma almost stopped his ass. So what are you saying?
And then, then turned down a career high payday, the most money he would have ever made in his life, and he said, "No, I'm not fighting again."
All I'm saying is the only guys that have given Lomachenko trouble are people that have been able to walk him down. It's the only people. Anybody that tries any other style against Loma, doesn't work.
But who's ever walked him down?
What I'm saying is they pressured him, like Linares did that. Even Devin Haney had to do that.
But he doesn't fight bums. What is his first fight? I mean, everybody he fights is all world class, or at least up there in world class.
You put in like a real pressure fighter, like I think Lomachenko would struggle with that.
Do you think Loma would struggle with Oscar Valdez? What you're telling me?
You just said Walters is a complete pressure fighter.
He's not. He's more like counterpuncher.
Valdez or Berchelt, really, those guys.
I think Navarrete will give Loma some trouble.
No,
at this point,
I'll tell you that right now.
At this point, he's going to be 36.
Maybe not Navarrete, but what's that guy? What's that guy that's with De La Hoya? Zepeda?
No,
Zepeda's a dark horse.
Yeah, Zepeda would give Loma trouble. Yes, he would.
What is Shakur done to prove himself much better than Zepeda? Honestly, Zepeda.
I'm glad you asked that. Zepeda and De La Hoya ducked that fight.
Zepeda punches in numbers. He has great shot selection. Zepeda could beat a guy like Shakur. I'm not sold on Shakur beating.
No, you don't. You can do whatever you want on that fight.
I would say that's the fight that he should win.
A little funny, but it's kind of strange how you go in one breath how he's a special fighter, but then this guy beat him, this guy beat him up, pressure fighter beat him easy. It's like, how's he a special fighter when everybody beats him?
No, I'm saying they'll give him trouble. I'm not sure if Zepeda will beat Lomachenko, but he'll definitely give him a lot of trouble.
You don't think he gives Shakur any trouble at all?
Zepeda? No.
Okay.
How?
So
how? Zepeda is a mass punching, strong southpaw. He literally is
because I've always said I've said this for the last I don't know how long, and I'm gonna keep saying it. Shakur Stevenson and Boots Ennis are generational talents.
You
haven't explained anything to me. I just told you how he would win.
Look, Shakur Stevenson is a master of distance, and fucking William Zepeda is not
midgets that can't activate their fucking feet against people that are shot. He hasn't proven that against one elite fucking fighter. Berchelt was shot to fucking pieces. You see, I'm pretty sure he went up and fought, was it Nakatila at 135 and got destroyed after getting destroyed by Valdez. You're talking about this guy being this elite fighter when he's just beating guys shorter than him that can't activate their feet, that don't have good footwork. That's just what you're saying. And he fights Nakatila, who's I'm pretty sure was a southpaw, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. And it was a hard puncher. He didn't want to fight the fucking dude.
But I'll be honest, man. I'll be honest, and I understand people. Some guys won't agree with me. It is just my opinion, after all, and I don't rate it any higher than anybody else's. Well, that's not true. It's just some opinions, just stupid. But anyways, no, I really do think Shakur Stevens is that guy. I think he's great. I think he's got an unbelievable, accurate, snapping, quick, fast jab, unbelievable distance. But it is what it is, But that's what I'm saying. And I just earlier in the same thing talked about how excited I'm over fucking Abdullah Mason. But it's really good that dude spent a few dollars to say, if it wasn't for fucking Hughes' Marvin Hagler. It's like they don't even listen to what you say because their room temperature IQ can only focus on one fucking thing at one time. Oh, this will get him. Ooh.
So by the eye test, Shakur looks like a Jaron Ennis who's very special, but he's never been with someone who's an elite,
He hasn't been tested yet, but I believe he's going to be that guy.
No, but here's the thing about special talents, like even Lone was one of them, or even a guy like Inoue. When you put him in the ring against guys who are like C-level fighters or sometimes even B-level fighters, they completely dominate them. That's a sign of a special fighter. No, they don't struggle with these type of guys.
I agree. And the thing is, you don't know. You can spot special. Rareweed, you cannot spot special.
Aaron didn't do shit.
Here's the thing.
I say that again, Bucho.
Yeah, Rareweed. Sorry, my mic's fucking up. By the way, guys, in the chat, we're having issues with the stream. Apparently, it's supposed to be fine, but I see people dropping off and coming back on, so there's something going on. But whatever. It's going to be fine after we end the live stream. I was going to say that, Rareweed, you cannot spot challenge because you keep saying that Shakur Stevenson is a special talent. All right?
Uh-huh.
But the thing is, we haven't really seen much from Shakur Stevenson. He could be special, but he needs to go through certain tests, right? Lomachenko did go through the test. He passed the test. And so that's why we consider him special. Shakur is not special. So I'm kind of wondering, what your logic is here, Abby, how you spot that?
Because when people first saw LeBron James in high school, they didn't need him to go to the NBA to say, that guy's
using an eye test theory.
No fucking way, bro.
They didn't need him to go to the NBA and say, he's when Michael Jordan first popped out, Mr. Coach Knight, I forgot his first name. What's his first name? Larry Knight? Whatever. He said that's the best basketball player.
That's not even a fair assessment, dude, because there's like 10 guys that come along in the NBA, NFL every year, and they can't miss, and they all miss. Like that's not
Okay,
a fair
but
assessment. You can just say this guy's the guy, and then they make it. Oh, I was right. Like I noticed a trend
he
with
called
this
it
guy.
in college. He said
No.
this, and he was right.
Listen, man. You've been talking. You just run your mouth and you spew garbage. I just noticed a trend. I'm hearing Dora, cook you, and it seemed like everybody the Loma beat wasn't shit, and everybody Shakur beats is the killer. Everybody Boots beats is a killer, but then everybody Loma and Inoue beat wasn't shit. I just noticed a real trend with you, dude, and it was very inconsistent.
Didn't I just say Loma was a great fighter,
I heard you
special
say
fighter?
Walters wasn't shit. You said whoever these guys Inoue beat, they weren't really proven. But all of a sudden, everybody that these guys, Karen, Shakira, and Boots beat are these killers. They're great fighters. Make sense to me.
It's just it wasn't there. Like his best wins at 130 or Conceição, who Loma killed in the Olympics and would have stopped. I promise you, prime Loma would have
great fight
embarrassed
in Olympic history.
Conceição.
Jesus.
He would have embarrassed Conceição.
Nobody's arguing Conceição will beat Lomachenko. I never said that.
No, but the thing is, he would do it much better than Shakur did. Shakur low blowed him 40 times, came in overweight, and couldn't even knock him. Like, he knocked him down once with a body shot, which was good, I guess.
We don't know that. It's not like Loma's knocked out everybody he's fought.
Loma would stop him. Believe me. If Loma's stopping guys like Linares, who was 44-3 and hadn't lost in 7 years and is beating everybody, was a consensus guy at lightweight.
Yeah, everybody knows Linares, except for Devin Haney.
Because then you're saying who's a better fighter? Linares or Conceição? Prime Linares or Conceição? Who's a better fighter?
Prime Linares, obviously.
Okay, then. So, and Linares has more tools in his toolkit. He's got a better punch selection, faster hands. He doesn't telegraph his shots. He's got better feet. He has everything better than Conceição. But you're telling me Loma wouldn't stop that guy when Loma pretty much stopped every single fighter he fought at 130, if I'm not mistaken? He stopped everybody he fought at 130.
Oh, no. Conceição's a pretty big dude.
No.
Ever since he's gotten 35, Loma's just not walking through these guys anymore.
I give you something, and then you don't run with it because it doesn't fit your narrative.
Why do you want me to run with what you want me to run with? I'm not doing that, bro. It's not going on.
He's just giving you what I said. Is you want to overrate your guys' opponents, but underrate Loma's. That's just what I said. You're just so inconsistent, bro. You're making everybody that your favorite fighter fought killers, and then you want to.
Nobody's saying Conceição's a killer. That guy is.
Okay,
but you're making him better fighter.
Why did he not just stop him? Why did he not completely destroy this kid? Why did he lowball him?
Yeah, if he's not
that guy was grabbing for his life.
Loma, a lot of people.
Shakur is not exactly a power puncher. We know that.
So you're saying Shakur Stevenson doesn't have the inside game?
No, that's what he has to do. That's if you're special, you got to get these guys out.
Wait. You don't think Shakur has the inside game? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I mean, you're telling me Conceição grabbed him and you couldn't stop him from grabbing him and knock him out. So
I mean, bro, when somebody's clinching, they're clinching. Sometimes there's nothing you can do.
All right.
Well, there's no doubt. Shakur's is mid-range out. That's where he dominates,
right?
In his accuracy and his jab. Yes, and I believe he has all the tools to be a special fighter. But he's just gotta, he'll do it. Exactly. We'll see what happens going forward.
Exactly right. And see, I don't disagree that a guy like Jaron or Shakur could be great fighters. But when you have people calling me a troll because he beat Roman Villa, who lost to Marcos Venecia or whatever, like 3-4 years ago at lightweight, like a guy who can't jab, who telegraphs his shots, who has no feet, a guy who's a 10-1 favorite. He did what he's supposed to do. And you have people like me or like Rare Breed and other people saying, give him his credit, man. Why are you trying to take away from him? But what are you doing? Like, he did what he was supposed to do. Shakur Stevenson has done what he's supposed to do against every fighter he's ever fucking fought. That was a consensus. He was going to beat them all. And it's not because Shakur is this absolute killer. It's because these guys.
That's not easy to do. That's not easy to do. Look at guys like Berlanga. But look at guys like Berlanga. You're not just you assume it's easy to beat certain guys, but it's not. It's not a given.
So but the thing is, when you do this shit, when you overrate Shakur and his fighters, you're basically implying. Would you say that Shakur from the eye test is better than Inoue? From what you've seen, would you agree to that? Because that kind of seems like what you're implying.
I think Shakur Stevenson fundamentally is the most skilled fighter in boxing.
He already said he's special, guys. He said Shakur is special already.
Right.
Special. He's throwing this term around like it's nothing.
Yeah, I just got to hear shit
without it being proven. And he wins every mythical matchup. Even though Shakira didn't want to fight Davina, he turned out an awesome shot. I mean, T.O. did it. Even Devin Haney took on Kambosos.
Yeah, they both.
But this Shakira guy, you're so special, but you turn out undisputed. Like, make that make sense.
You know, if it was
Well, I was gonna say this. Shakur's defense, he did fucking. I think he lowballed him so much. I think it was one of those offers that it wasn't a serious offer.
I don't think. I think they're both capping. I don't think they both want to fight each other and risk it because either one could be either one. But if you're Shakira, I mean, you kind of have to. But you kind of have to. If you're so confident, if you're so special, then you should do it.
Yeah, and then he would never have to worry about getting lowballed ever.
Think about this.
You gotta remember what Bob's saying too. I'm sure Bob's telling me, "Oh my God, don't worry about it." You know what I'm saying? I'll have other fights for you.
Here's my counter to that. If it was Kambosos with all 4 belts and he offered Shakira that deal, you don't think he's taking it? He jumps at that opportunity. No. If it was the same deal, this split, like Kambosos had, right? If it was Kambosos holding the belts and he offered Shakira that opportunity, you don't think he's jumping on it? Of course he's jumping. You said it at your own mouth. That's why Devin Haney jumped on it.
If Tank would have offered that same deal to Shakur, he's taking that one too.
But that's not what we're talking about.
I don't know because
Kambosos was holding the belts.
Context matters.
No. If Kambosos was holding the undisputed at the same time and offered him a shit deal like that, Shakira jumps on it because he knows he can go in there and win easy. There's no risk. He didn't take it because Devin Haney is a risk. And look, I don't think either one of them wants it. But no.
That's kind of true.
Either he's either Shakira is this special talent that can beat anybody, and if you have that belief, then you go do it. Yeah, like, you can't have it both ways. Exactly.
Yeah, I agree that I think he should have said, "Fuck it, yeah, I'll take it," just to make Haney back off. Because I don't think Haney won. Yeah, exactly. I think he should have called his bluff because I think Haney would have backed right down.
But that's my argument. If it was Kambosos that had the belts and he offered Shakira that same deal, Shakira takes it without a second thought.
What do you think
don't give me.
Look. Even though I think Shakur beats Devin Haney easily, he's not fucking Kambosos. He's way more of a threat than that guy.
So he's not that special then. So that he's not as special.
But being Devin Haney. But Devin Haney is still
you want it both ways. No, you can't have doubt and then call him the best and he beats everybody.
So we don't know what's in the pot. If it's $6 million in the pot and it's 25%,
that's the only thing I'm going to agree.
Either he's that dude and he steps up because he knows, and he said it himself. He washes Devin Haney. He's been saying he'll wash him or kick his ass, easy work. But now all of a sudden you have a trepidation. That doesn't make sense to me.
Cream always rises to the top.
I don't know. The reason why I'm being with Rearview here is because
when are you ever going to get the opportunity for 4 belts? If Devin Haney moves up, then it gets scattered, and he gets an easy belt.
Not really. You'll get 2 belts pretty fast, actually.
Yeah, but I got the best fighting the best, and this guy he's so special, but you don't want to take it on. So maybe he really isn't that special.
What is Shakira worth? I think no more than 30 or 35%. Because you got to remember, even though Haney got a bullshit gift decision, he's still the A side. He has a much better resume at lightweight. He's done more at lightweight than Shakur has. What is Shakur worth?
35, 40
I
is
think
fair.
40 is way too high. I think 40 is way too high. I would say no more than 35. I would say Shakur.
Devin Haney can't sell out his own living room, so 35, 40 is fair.
25% of what though? What is he offering him? He said 25%. You're offering 25%.
We don't even know what the pot is. So that's big.
And I know Bob Arum isn't the type of guy to want to lose money a second time. So I would say what are we saying the pot is? 4 mil maybe 5.
Oh, that'll be horrible. 25% of $5 million. That's you taking a pay cut.
I'll tell you right now.
Shakur isn't worth what Devin is at lightweight. He's just not. I fucking hate Devin. I'd be rooting for Shakur. But like if Shakur asks for any more than 30 or 35%, he's pricing himself out.
He asked for 35%. He literally said just make it 35%.
And that might be too much. That still might be too much.
And I just want to go back to like we were talking about like with the Lomachenko thing too, man. It just can't be. It just can't gloss it over like Bredman talks about it all the time. Edwards, like he did all that shit in his first 11 professional fights. It takes guys 25, 30 fights to get up to that kind of realm easily. Sometimes even more. You know what I'm saying? Like he's taking on.
He's the same age as Loma and hasn't fought a a titleist. He hasn't fought anyone that was close to having a belt. He fought Lipinets, who I think won a vacant title at 140. That's his best win. I mean, look what Loma did at 26. He beat the best featherweight of his era, or he went on to beat who became the best featherweight of his era, and Gary Russell Jr. So it's like, yeah,
He's the longest WBC champ at 5 years. He beat everybody. Yeah, Lomachenko beat him in his third professional fight. Like, that means something. That means a lot. To be honest, because I'm such a traditionalist and I don't really like change. When Loma first came out of the amateurs saying, I want a championship fight, burst fight, kind of pissed me off. I didn't like it. I'm like, fuck that, man. Earn your shit like everybody else, But then when I couldn't hate. I couldn't, have a negative after watching what he was doing. I'm like, God damn, this kid is good. You know what I mean? Like, just go watch a Lomachenko fight when he's in his groove around other professional fighters and just look and listen to the shit they say. Like, oh, God damn, did you see that? Like, he does crazy angle shit. He's accurate. He did some crazy shit. I'm telling you, I couldn't help but appreciate his talent. And I think this kid Abdullah Mason is gonna be better than Shakur. Yeah, exactly. I think he could be better. I think he could beat fucking Shakur.
I haven't been watching as much boxing as Jimmy, of course, but I've been watching boxing for like really watching boxing like maybe 24 years. No more, 24.
That's a long time.
Late 90s, like really following it, right? And there's only certain boxers that have really impressed me, and Lomachenko's one of them. Pacquiao, obviously, as well.
Yeah.
And even Sugar Shane Mosley.
Inoue, obviously, is another one.
So. Inoue, the power. But Lomachenko's up there, man. So for people who say like people who say that they're not really impressed with Lomachenko, that's crazy. Because Lomachenko, man, he's fucking special. That way he was fighting. Now I think he's a little bit past his prime. But when he was in that peak, those 13
his
fights,
gas tank's declining a little bit.
Yeah,
Pucho, you're right.
Yeah, but the only guy comparable Loma was this guy Nassim Hamed, and when he stepped up, he got beat. So Loma, he passed all the tests. Like, even all that specialness doesn't mean anything until
this is what
you pass the test.
What you don't understand is, like, when you talk about, nobody's comparing Shakur to the Four Horsemen. He's not compared to Marquez, Morales, Barrera, Pacquiao. Loma is at that rarefied air where that doesn't mean he beats all these guys, but most people believe he would be competitive with a lot of these fighters, except maybe Prime Pacquiao, maybe not that. But like any of the other three guys, like, he would be competitive with these guys, and he could probably beat some of them. Not every time, but like if they fought 2 or 3 times, he would probably beat most of them at least once. He's one of those kind of fighters, and I think no one can really argue that. So, and Jaron Ennis hasn't proven that yet. Shakur Stevenson hasn't proven that yet. They haven't even came close to doing that. These guys are the Four Horsemen are all first ballot Hall of Famers. I don't even know if you know who the Four Horsemen are, but like, those are all. So that's just my opinion, Jimmy. You can go.
Yeah, and I agree too. And just in the amateurs, which I know is different from professionals, but it's amateurs is a big difference in fighting at the New Englands or fighting a regional thing and dominating that. It's a different story when you're up at the world level and you're fighting nothing but the top best amateurs in the world. And what was his record? Was it like 495-1? And he
it was 395 or 396.
Yeah, it was some crazy fucking insane. One of the greatest amateur fighters of all time. That's the reason why he was able to. The sanction body said, "Okay, a kid coming out with that kind of pedigree, that's a phenom." You know what I mean? He was a phenom as an amateur. So because of that, the sanction body said, "Yep, we'll sanction it." Because normally they wouldn't. If you turned pro and said, "I want to fight a champion," they'd laugh at you. Remember, they wouldn't let McGee fight fucking Triple G back in 2017 because of his lack of experience.
That would have been a body bag too, man. He would have got
a weird fight to not accept though. Like, he already had a title at that time before too, right? So like, you have to have enough experience.
Exactly, but they just said it wasn't enough experience because the sanction bodies. That's kind of what they're supposed to do. But lately they're a fucking joke. But they still said they appreciated Loma's skill. And for maybe the same reason it kind of bothered me, seeing him skip everything. At first I thought a lot of the hatred was, for that reason, until then, then you find out as it goes on, that's not what's motivating most of the hate that kid caught, which sucks. But it is what it is. And it's been that way now for a while. Fucking Europeans can't get a fucking shit. I mean, look at the 3 ones who, Kovalev, Lomachenko, and Triple G have all been robbed in Vegas.
And Bivol almost got robbed himself when he 10-2'd or 9.
Oh yeah, that was. You saw those scorecards like 115, 113. I was so.
Yep.
I thought he was about to get robbed right there.
Yep. I mean, and that's the thing. Eastern European fighters will never get a fair shake against Mexicans or Afro-Anglos. And I don't know. It's kind of sad. I think blacks are still obviously more privileged than Mexicans, but that's because they're like, they're definitely on the Ring magazine, and they're all these like considered pound for pound elite fighters for not doing anything. Like the fact that Spence is number 4 pound for pound list, or is number 4 on the pound for pound list, but like a guy like Fulton isn't on there, according to Ring's credentials, is just fucking retarded.
No, what's ridiculous?
Go ahead.
I talked to Dougie Fisher because when Tank made the pound for pound list, I was just bewildered, right? And I was like, yo, how did he make the pound for pound list? Like, I was like, I understand people don't really like Shakur or Devin, but I was like, but at the bare minimum, they accomplished more than Tank. And that Japanese kid,
Junto Nakatani.
I don't know his full name. No, not
Junto?
him. Taraji.
Ioka, maybe? You called the 4-weight champ, Kazuto Ioka?
I honestly forgot that he got kicked off, so I didn't mention him. But I mentioned Taraji since I saw him beat Kyoguchi recently.
Right.
And I was like, why are none of them on the list? Right? Yeah.
What was the answer? Why was that? Did we get an answer from Ring, the Ring magazine, as to why Tank was up there?
He said, and I quote, actually, no, the whole conversation got pretty stupid at one point, but at one point I said, how'd they make on the list? And they said, the way that they're going to make it on the list is if they fight a real one. And I said, what the fuck does that even mean? What are the real ones Tank has fought? I was like, and he said,
oh my God.
Rio Santa Cruz.
He dragged up the weight.
Did they get paid?
He said I won't. He said, you know what? I'll give you Cuellar. I'll take him off because he was inactive. And I was like, I'm taking off Cuellar because that's a horrible fucking win. and then I think he said Mario Barrios and Isaac Cruz.
Oh God!
No, come on. Isaac Cruz. He's a replacement. Late replacement.
I'm surprised Dougie said that.
No, Doug Fisher didn't say that, man. I refuse to believe Doug Fisher would say that.
Right, that's crazy.
Then,
that's sad.
I could just really put quick messages in the thing.
So Ioka beat Kosei Tanaka, who, if I'm not mistaken, was a 3-weight world champion. He was like tied or was right next to Loma's record as the fastest 3-weight champion ever. Kosei Tanaka was the favorite to beat Ioka, and Ioka stopped that guy. And like that's more than Shakira, Tank, or Devin have ever done in their entire career, and yet he's not on the pound for pound list. It's fucking crazy to me. And he's a 4-weight world fucking champion. Like that's just so mind boggling to me, man.
I think you can pay in order to be in that list.
Right, I think so too. Yeah.
And I mean, put it this way: if you want to talk about privilege, I never have Mexican people of Mexican descent call in this show and say, "Oh, Jimmy doesn't like Mexicans; he only likes Canelo." You know what I'm saying? But it's always one direction. It's always if you don't hold up. And if you don't hold up, if I don't hold up just African American fighters, which I hate using that term because a lot of them don't even identify as African. I don't know. And so Black American fighters, let's just use that. Then it's fucking. They use this. They're using their race to get as a shield. Like, what does that have to do with anything? But there's nobody else doing that. I don't have Japanese fans saying that, Mexican American fans, or Mexican fans aren't saying that.
Jimmy, they will even attack even if you're black and you even if a black person has the same views as you, Jimmy, they're gonna be called a coon, right? So it's like everybody who disagrees with them, they're gonna be called something, either racist or coon. That's it.
Yep. Exactly. But here, JDA, so I want to hear you. So I'm going to give you a quick rundown. I don't know if you heard what happened with Rare Breed, so I'll give you a quick rundown. So we are comparing Inoue and Fulton compared to Crawford Spence. And I was explaining how, Spence's resume isn't much better. If it's really, like, at the best, his best wins, or if they're even better than Fulton's, because he beat Figueroa, even though it was close. And he beat Daniel Roman, who's a former unified champ. And, some of, what's his name, Errol Spence's best wins are against guys that haven't accomplished really anything at 147 and Danny, 50-50 fighters and Ugas and Porter, and Kell Brook, who had gotten destroyed by Triple G. And he was saying, Terrence Crawford has a better resume than Inoue, even though Inoue beat Omar Narvaez, who had only lost to Nonito Donaire previously. He, he says Inoue is tailor-made to beat these guys when he stops the number 2, 3 guys like constantly over and over again. You know, anyone in the top 5 at bantamweight in 2 or 3 rounds, and he was saying that what Crawford has done is more impressive, or what Spence has done is just as impressive or more impressive than Inoue. So I don't know what your thoughts are on that. He might not be here, but that was a quick rundown. I just want to know what you had to say, because I like to hear you yell at these fucking idiots.
Joe.
Shit, JDA might not be here.
No, he jumped on and muted himself.
Yeah, he muted himself. I thought he was waiting for us to finish our combo. Fuck. I hope he heard the conversation though.
Yeah.
We'll talk to him about it when he gets back. But yeah, I don't know. I just think that guys like Tank Davis who put rehydration clauses, Devin Haney who gets gift decisions and has been like tailor-made to, you know, had an easy career, his entire career. You know, the fact those guys are on the pound-for-pound list over guys that constantly fight the best, like Ioka, even Taguchi, right? And, you know, I don't know. I just think there's so many Japanese fighters. There's 3 that, like, come to mind that are better than, like, in my opinion, both.
And, you know, this is how biased they are, because as you're saying that, Dora, you heard Rare Sting, well, it's easier to make fights down there. It's like they have these snake-ass answers for everything.
Yeah, it's just always an excuse, you know. Like, that's why Superfly and Bantamweight are so, like, boxing, you know, purists or people that love the sport. It's held at such a high esteem. You know, Superfly's only been out, I think, maybe as a right after or right when Muhammad Ali started fighting, and it's one of like the best divisions in the fucking sport. It's really like the hardcores. It's like a glamour division, and when you're running that division or you're beating a lot of guys in around 115, 118, you know, that's special. So, you know, that's just my opinion. I don't know. There really is just a disgusting bias that they have towards these Afro Anglos. It's just like it's crazy. They can do no wrong. You know, they can't be overrated in any way. And then they get exposed and they make excuses for them getting exposed. You know, like just what happened with Devin. You know, a lot of people on this panel said Devin's going to get his ass kicked. And that's what happened. And, you know, you got a gift decision. So.
And, you know, and again, you know, Rory was even like saying, right, Jimmy, like for me to coast. And I was some of his stuff about what he was saying about fighters, right? At no time did he act like I was being biased towards anything. And somebody drops a fucking chat. Oh, you know, it was. European fucking, you know, they'd be all over, you know, Jimmy would be all over it. And Ray goes, yeah, of course he would. Or like co-signs it right away.
Right, guys.
Just jump right on that shit. It's like a reflex with them.
Yeah, we have an interesting comment. We have an interesting comment here from Pimp. Pimp713 says, why do American fight fans hate their own fighters? No other country does that but America.
We don't hate Black American fighters. We just think a lot of them are criminally overrated, and there's a lot of fighters that don't get the credit they deserve. You got guys like, you know, Ioka, who's a prime example of that. That guy is more accomplished than almost anyone on the pound-for-pound list right now. And at least half the fighters. He's more accomplished than Spence, Haney, even Tio, even though Tio's had a great, you know, really great resume. What's it, Devin? He's more accomplished in 4 of those fighters. He's not on the pound-for-pound list.
I think Americans are not, they view boxing as purely like they don't really see much nationality in it. I would say like they support A boxer or B boxer or C boxer. It's people in other countries that put much more emphasis on the nationalities of the boxers. Yep. And that's my opinion. I don't know. You guys probably. I mean,
but it's just like, you know, I think a lot of like pure American fans that are fans of the sport are tired of this like you know, this favoritism towards these Black American fighters. Like, you know, you have so many of them on the pound for pound list that shouldn't be there. You know, Errol Spence is, you know, maybe number 9 or 10 at best. Haney shouldn't be on there. Tank shouldn't be on there. You know, it's just a joke. So that's just my opinion on it. Really, I just think a lot of American fans are tired of like privilege really in the sport. It's been this way since fucking Floyd ruined it.
Were you gonna say something, Bucho?
No, go ahead.
Oh, I think it's kind of counterintuitive too, because he's saying that why do Americans hate? Well, why do you hate the Jermell Charlo fight? Why are you hating on Jermell Charlo so much? You hate that fight. Are you going to support Jermell Charlo, or are you jumping off the bandwagon? Are you going to support Jamal Charlo when he was going to fight Canelo, or you're jumping off the bandwagon? It's like they don't even support their own. So I didn't
hear any complaints when Mikey Garcia was moving up 2 weight divisions to fight Errol Spence Jr.
He's American too.
Daring to be great.
He's American, yeah.
Whatever the fuck that was supposed to mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, the dare to be great moment. Yeah.
Hey, can I ask a question here? I just started re-listening. What was the argument about Inoue? That against Spence that Spence is better.
Well, his
Resume.
So they're saying that rare.
It's about being pound for pound. The argument is that the winner. But that's the root of the argument.
No, but Mr. BDA, Rare also said that it's easier to make fights in the lower weight divisions.
Well, but that's interesting though, because if that's the case, then that proves a point that Inoue's got a better resume.
That's what I said.
Because if the fights are easier to make, then they're making them. We're not arguing whether it's fair or not that some fights get made easier than others. The point is who has a better resume. And Inoue has, I think I heard Dora got deported say that Inoue has consistently been beating the number 1 and 2 guys in the division, and he's done it within 3 rounds. Usually, I reserve judgment on a fighter if he's knocking everybody out, because then I go, okay, I want to see how he does if he can't knock out the other guy. And with Inoue, that's what we got against Donaire. We saw him be unable to knock him out, and he was able to outbox him. He showed us another wrinkle to his game. And by the way, he should have stopped Donaire in the first fight, because remember the referee got in Inoue's face when he dropped him with a body shot. So listen, when you're arguing with somebody, you're arguing with people that who we're talking about here. You're dealing with race fans. So
right, yeah, exactly. I can name 4 Japanese fighters right now, like Taraji, Ioka, Tanaka, and, well, hold up, there's going to be one more somewhere in there. Anyways, all these guys are more accomplished, or just as accomplished as their favorite fighters, aside of maybe Crawford, because he's a 3-weight champ. Like, Taraji's the junior fly Ring Magazine unified champ who's fought, the very best. And Spence has done that too, but, Spence gets all this fucking credit. Like, he's a top 5 pound-for-pound fighter for, like, UDing guys that he was special and stopped. Like, Inoue. Oh, that's Inoue. Inoue's the 4th guy. Inoue stops these people, man.
I don't get into arguments. Life's too short. Don't get into arguments, especially when it comes to boxing. Don't get into arguments with Get-Away's name runs, because you're just wasting your time. That's all you're doing.
No, I know. But it's just fun. We got to body him.
Yeah, it's fun. It's really fun. Time to talk some shit. You know what I mean? But we're not losing any fucking sleep over this. Like Jimmy said, we're not losing any fucking sleep. I mean,
right. We're fans of the sport.
And it's always funny, like to what BDA was saying, right? It's always funny that the guys who are so most obviously racially biased are the first ones to project that shit out, right? Because they know deep down inside that's what's motivating them. So they don't understand why it's not motivating you.
Sorry for cutting you off, Jimmy, but I went on to, I think, CCD or whatever. It was like this pro-Mexican channel that Gonzalo likes to be on. And, they like these black trolls came in there. They sounded overweight as fuck, by the way. And they were saying, we beat y'all, we beat the Mexican. It's like they project, a black fighter beating another fighter as that's their accomplishment. And you know what I mean? And that comes from, just being insecure about who they are and being insecure about their race, I think, as well. I think a lot of these fighters are very insecure. Sorry for cutting you off, BD. I think a lot of these black man fans are very insecure that they're black, so they always use connotation like, we beat y'all and shit like that, or we're going to get them back after Fury beat the shit out of Wilder. We're going to get them back, bro, after the Glovegate shit.
I think it's they want to show superiority, or also they view boxing as, because in the past, throughout history, boxing has been dominated by black Americans. And now things are changing, and they can't cope with this new reality.
I agree. Yep.
And so they have to come when they get a win. The whole thing, it's celebrated. Like
listen. We've said it before. There's no other community like the LDBC. They can try to pull it, grasp at straws and find one channel maybe. There's an entire community. I mean, that's listen. Afro-Anglos out there who are real boxing fans, they have to do something about that. Because it's not our job. Our job is, as far as we know, we talk boxing and then we make fun of these guys. That's it. But there's no other community like the LDBC, and that's where Afro-Anglos, real boxing fans, that are Afro-Anglo-American, have to go in there and do something about it. I understand why they don't. I understand why they don't do it though, because they get cold. Like Butcher said, they get cold.
Minority. It's going to be irrelevant anyways. They really shouldn't. That's not their job to make their own people.
It's kind of I'd say it's kind of your job to police your own. I kind of agree with, but says what Mr. BDA said. I mean, it's as bad as they can say racist shit about me. It's nothing to what they say to a black person doesn't agree with them. They eviscerate him. He's an Uncle Tom, a house N-word, all that shit. Like, you know what I mean? They just belittle him. They question his manhood and it's crazy, you know? And then if they talk intelligent, they're just trying to be white, but then they're angry that they can't get into college. They're pissed that they don't get an advantage over Asians and Indians, but whatever.
Big what's in the chat saying, he says, and blacks still dominate boxing, and I can hear the envy from y'all. See, this is what I'm saying. It's about domination. No, but this is exactly what I was talking about. They want to dominate. They want to feel domination, the power.
Right. So here, I want you to grab your phones, come on here right now, and tell me what fighters that completely dominate the sport that have beaten Hall of Famers and elite fighters. I want you to name me 4 Black American fighters that are better than Taraji, Inoue, Tanaka, and Ioka. I want you to grab your stones and come on here and tell me. I did a breakdown. 4 Black fighters that are better than 4 Japanese fighters right now.
There's only 2 divisions.
Relevant. Hey, by the way, listen. People, again, because every once in a while we got to talk about this. When people go, well, how come the LDBC exists? Because again, there's no other community like the LDBC. You just can't find it. When we've asked 3 or 4 people to search for it, and they've actually said, yeah, we'll do it, we'll look for the proof, and nothing. So my thing is, you got to remember, for a lot of people, when you ask them, who are you? Like, how do you define yourself? What's your identity? They'll say, well, I'm a father, or I'm a Christian, or a Muslim, whatever. The only group that usually doesn't say that are Afro-Anglos. They identify themselves by the color of their skin. That's why when Fury beat the shit out of Wilder twice, and Cece, the girl there from Trills Boxing, she goes, I don't like why motherfuckers feeling like they got one up us. So right there, for them, it's a race. It's a competition for a sport in a sport, by the way, something that we watch to have fun. And then she says that, and then she says, I'm black before I'm anything else. So there you have it. That's why these guys and a couple of women only root for the Afro-Anglo, because they are living vicariously through those people. It allows them to one up, because in society they feel like they're inferior to everybody else. So for them, sports is a way to do it, which is stupid, because at the end of the day, if you want to move forward as a society, you got to get past all that. The fact that they're using a sport to try to feel better about that. No, but
more importantly, are these guys boxing fans at the end of the day? If they're just watching boxing for to feel some sort of high, some power, then you're doing the wrong thing here, because you're supposed to be a boxing fan. You're not a boxing fan.
And Bucho, to echo that point, right? We have a bunch of black guys who call in a show who tell us we do a great job and we're one of the best shows, yada, yada, yada. And they really like boxing. And they're one of the first ones to say they hate that shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't like that because they're mature enough and they don't, insecure. They don't have to put their ethnicity above everything else.
They're boxing fans.
And it's just fucking, yeah, exactly. The boxing fan.
But it comes. Oh, go ahead.
No. Go give the example.
Oh, there's a channel there. I guess they're pro-black, and the host was arguing. He was a black guy. He said Haney was racist because, this is his words, I'm just saying what he says. He said that nigga gave Loma the white boy, and he yells. You guys might know who he is. He gave a white boy, but he won't give a brother a chance at Shakur. Like, I was like, I don't know. I mean, it makes sense.
Well, did you guys talk about this? Did you guys talk about this? Somebody posted on the Discord.
Yeah, we did.
The fact that Shakur Stevenson gave Lomachenko his props this past week on Twitter. Yeah. And he was. Oh, you guys talked about it or no?
Yeah, we did.
About Twitter. No, I didn't hear anything about that, PDA.
What?
Yeah, he called. Yeah, I'll tell you real quick. Oh, you go. You can go, BDA.
You mean the people calling him a coon for it, or what?
All right, somebody. I'll let you know.
I'm looking at the tweet here. I'm looking at the tweet here. Apparently, Shakur Stevenson said, "Yo, Lomachenko, nothing but respect, champ. You deserved them belts. I hope you healed up and everything is all good with you. I think it's time for a real high skill level chess. I'm ready for the big fight, champ. Let's make something happen." And then Lomachenko said, "Thank you, I'm okay, but I have unfinished business with Haney." And then Stevenson replied by, "I understand, champ, but if he ducks you like he's ducking me, it only makes sense for us to get it." Now, hold on. Then a couple of people started. I get the tweets here. I'm going to post them if I get the chance next episode. Awesome. This guy goes, hold on. This guy goes, on Twitter. It's a black dude, obviously. He goes, "All praises due, huh? Disgusting work," he says. So he's referencing Shakur Stevenson. And then there's another guy like whose name is Gabriel Yahawaha. I mean, and he goes, "On his knees for that white boy." And then another black guy goes, "Truly disgusting."
Of course it is.
Yeah, I'm telling you, that's what they do. That's what he said. He says he gave the white boy Loma money. Why can't he give Shakur a brother money?
But they never back up what they say, because if you call them out on it, then you're racist. You know what I mean? And it goes across the board. We see it all the time. Like you.
But here's my question. Here's my question about that. They're making it racial first, which is stupid because they never consider themselves awareness. And then here's another tweet. Another guy goes, "Shakur," quotation marks, meaning his nickname, Shakur Yes Master Stevenson. That's what they're calling him on Twitter. So,
it's really sad. So here,
but yeah, he's
go ahead.
in here saying, but wait, real quick, Rivery, it's going to take 1 second. Rivery's on here saying, "No, man, Shakur fucking naughty." He said he rewatched it a few weeks ago. He said that Shakur said, after rewatching it, I think that fucking Haney won. And I said, that's not what he said. But for him, but he knew he was going to catch that shit. Just knowing that you're going to catch that shit when he tweeted that, he was expecting that kind of fucking shit. But I just want to say, that my hat goes off to Shakur for that shit, showing respect like that, and just being two champions. Like, they don't have to fucking talk shit to each other. It's a sport. You know what I mean? And I don't know. I just respect Shakur for putting that out there, because he knows it's so much easier to be quiet when you know you're going to get knuckleheads in there on your knees for the white man. Like, imagine how fucking insecure you are as a human being to say something like that.
And Jimmy, you know what's interesting about that is it's as long as, you know, as soon as somebody gives a black dude gives praise to a non-black guy, especially if it's a white fighter that they're praising, all of a sudden they're on their knees for Massa. And it's thinking, that's how quick it is. They go from 0 to 100 with the race thing. Again, you don't see this from any other group as often as you do with these LBC people. It's insane. And again, it makes it hard to talk about boxing because people go, "Why are you talking about this?" Because it ends up on your doorstep. I mean,
so
how you to ignore
I want to add, I
right.
don't know if you were here for this. So I was talking to H Money about how, Jaron Ennis beat Roman Villa and stopped him. I was like, yeah, he did what he was supposed to do. It was very impressive. And they're talking about how they want Stanionis next. They said Stanionis ducked, Ennis to go fight Virgil Ortiz. They both had injuries, and then Virgil had to pull out from another health issue. That just doesn't make that argument just doesn't make any sense. But I said, because they don't want Stanionis to fight Alexis Rochas, who's a legit top 6-7 guy in the division. I said, what would look better for Jaron Ennis? If Jaron Ennis fights Stanionis on an 18 to 20 month layoff, because he hasn't fought since April of 2022, or if if Stanionis beats a guy like Alexis Rocha, and then Jaron Ennis beats Stanionis at his best, what looks better for him? And they say it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, bro. None of that matters, even though Stanionis potentially would have a top 6 or 7 win. And not only that, they said they always use shit like "we," or like, you're scared that your fighter, your fighter is going to lose to my fighter and shit like that. It's like, God, man, it's just a joke, dude. It's so crazy.
They live through their fighters. It's insane. I used to be on message boards for decades before I jumped on the YouTube thing, thanks to Bucho. And yeah, there was a little bit of racism every once in a while, but it was mostly boxing. I never knew that there was this type of vitriol from the Afro-Anglo community before I got on YouTube. And that's when because Bucho would tell me about the LDBC. I go, the LGB what? I didn't understand what the fuck he was talking about until I finally saw it for myself. And that's when I realized, there's some people out there who have an inferiority complex. And again, you can make the excuse, history, blah, blah, blah. It does. We're 21st century. I mean,
it only goes for narratives that benefit them. Do you think if Stanionis had let's say he had beat Virgil Ortiz and, let's say, which I don't think would happen, by the way, and then let's say Jaron Ennis was on over a year layoff, do you think these guys would be clamoring for that fight right away, or do you think they'd want him to have a tune-up? You know what I mean? And like we know the answer, whether they're going to be honest or not. So it only benefits them, when they're a non-black fighter is potentially compromised or not at his best, and then and so they can I guess flex their quote-unquote superiority that they're better. It's fucking stupid. Because I think, really, honestly, a lot of these Jaron Ennis fans are, intimidated by Stanionis, which is why they want him now. after a huge layoff instead of having him maybe another top 6 or 7 win at welterweight.
It's almost better to your statement. I think you know what? It's almost better that Virgil fainted and the fight didn't take place, because if he would have fought Stanionis, he probably would have got knocked out. If he fainted on the scales, so it's better his career kind of gets preserved in the sense that if he would have gotten knocked out, they would have said he wasn't that good, he was overrated and stuff.
Right, yeah, I put him up to 54. I don't want to see anyone weight drained, you know what I mean? That's not fucking right. So, and then here, BD, I was also talking with Rare Stink, and because he was talking about how Errol Spence has a really good resume, and even Terrence Crawford, and I said, so Rare Breed, after the first 4 or 5 opponents in Beterbiev's career, which are kind of like tune-ups, right? Do you know the win percentage of his last 15 or 16 opponents? And he had no idea. It's over 92%. You know what I mean? Like and he stopped them all. He stopped everybody he's fought with a 92% win ratio. Like, that's indicative of a pound-for-pound fighter. That's much more impressive than what Spence has done at welterweight, in my opinion. But Beterbiev is even on the pound-for-pound list. So,
well, we already went through this too with Chocolatito. About 10 years ago, was rampaging through 3 divisions, dominating people, and these guys were like, "Who that? Who Chocolate?" And they go like, "He ain't beat nobody." It's like, well, because you don't know who they are. Imagine I don't watch boxing. Imagine I'm a casual boxing fan and I only watch UFC or MMA, and every once in a while I catch a couple of boxing fights. Say I don't know who Jaron Ennis is. I could go, "Well, who the fuck is that?" And I don't watch the guy, by the way. His skills suck, blah, blah, blah. How can anyone make a judgment about a fighter if they've never seen him box? They don't know who that they've boxed. And so essentially that's the thing they did with Chocolatito. That's the thing they do with Inoue. And again, you're dealing with casuals. A lot of these Nimrods are boxing casuals. They watch the highlights on Twitter.
You look at Southpaw TV, who's like, in a way, is a hype job. A hype job is when you have manufactured hype around you based on fights you're supposed to win. And he goes in there and talks about these bums and shit like that. Just because you don't follow the smaller weight classes or know who he's fought, that's not our problem. Like, the fact that, all these people that call Inoue a hype job or that he shouldn't be on the pound-for-pound list, and they can't even tell me who Omar fucking Narvaez is, I guess, like, your argument's dead. You bodied yourself. You don't know who Omar Narvaez is, let alone all the other guys he's beat, then, like, there's nothing we can do for you. We just can't.
By the way, in the chat we have Bentley Sports who says, "BDA, you are a casual. You picked Ryan to beat Tank Davis."
Well, first of all, I also explained how Tank Davis would win or could win the fight, and that's exactly how it happened. So I can break down the fight from either side, and of course, Tank Davis ain't as good as you might think because he stuck a rehydration clause on Ryan Garcia.
Yeah, he did the Barrios too, which was his hardest fight.
I mean, these guys pick every black fighter. These guys pick every black fighter.
Fellas, I was speaking. I wasn't finished, please. And then on top of that, the rehydration clause, that's because Tank Davis, he said it himself. He said, this guy's too big, too fast, too strong. I'm just trying to even the playing field. In fact, let me read you the exact quote. He's just making sure, this is what Tank Davis said, it's just making sure everything's fair, you know what I mean? I know that Ryan Garcia is a bigger fighter. He already has the advantage of the height, the size, the arm length, like everything. So he's saying everything. He has the most advantages. So I'm just making it a little fair. So there you go. I mean, what would happen? Hey, maybe I would have been right had they fought, let them fight at their optimal condition at 100%. But obviously Ryan Garcia wasn't at 100%. And, now it's come out, too, that Ryan Garcia is a little bit of a mental case. So, hey, I broke down the fights, how, I would have liked to have seen this guy give me the plan for Ryan Garcia, how he could pull it off. I bet you he didn't know. I bet you all he said was he got too much footwork. He got more footwork, more athleticism. He got that down.
Wait a sec, BD. You know what they talk to you like that? You know let him talk to you like that? The guy in the chat?
Yeah, plus the rib injury, right?
You know, let him get away with that, BDA?
Oh, and the mole, too. Don't forget the mole.
Yep.
They have to pull out all these stops to get themselves a little win. And by the way, he said Ryan Garcia was a pussy, blah, blah, blah. So they got to get a mole. They got to put a rehydration clause. They got to extend the wane so that they make Ryan Garcia suffer more. I mean,
Yeah,
geez,
but see,
Louise.
that's the difference in like level. Like when you have a guy like Loma and Tank. Loma fought Devin Haney, who had 36 hours to rehydrate, which I had stated in the previous shows was a rule that's only been in the game for 2 or 3 years. This was Haney at his biggest, at his best. No rehydration clause, no bullshit, nothing. No delayed weigh-in to where he can, continue to suffer, like you say. And then you have Tank Davis, who puts all these stipulations on a guy like Ryan Garcia, who was a good, solid contender kind of fighter, but he wasn't even a proven pound-for-pound fighter, let alone like a Hall of Famer or anything like that. So,
hey, is that Slugger? Is that Slugger in the panel, by the way?
Yes.
Come on here to debate because they know they'll get picked apart.
I asked Slugger for help one day to have you reconsidered that or?
Which you asked me for 10 different favors. What was it?
Okay, that's not true.
Come on, just because we live now, you want to mess with you want to act like you didn't ask me.
All I'm saying is, I think you get the skills to host a show, like a special Slugger Sam show.
Well, listen, BDA. Here's the thing. Me and the YTBC, we don't see eye to eye. It's a bunch of betas. And listen, I'm not gonna lie. I probably bully a lot of the guys on the YT. No. Jimmy's a cool guy. I'm not you. Oh, come on, Jimmy. Are you crazy, Jim? Not you.
I didn't say nothing.
Oh, my bad. I thought you were coming at me there for a second.
No, I didn't say a word, man.
I got my head on a swivel. I think everybody's out to get me. Yeah, BDA. I don't know if it's gonna work out because YTBC, they're a bunch of betas. I bully all of them. They all hate me. Every time I come on the panel, they all start crying. Kick them off. I just, I don't want you to get haters.
Who are some of the? Name some names. Name some names. Who are some of the people that you're, having some friction with?
You want me to name names? I can name you every name.
Go ahead, please. Yeah, I'm curious.
Okay, I'll name you every name. BFTB hates me. Major Key Boxing hates me. H Money Boxing hates me. Punch Drunk Boxing hates me. Black and Brown hates me. Back Chat Boxing hates me. Johnny Boy hates me. You guys remember Johnny Boy, right? That guy that cries on the YouTube. Got like 10 videos of him crying on YouTube. He hates me. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, everybody hates me, man. I'm just.
I'm curious.
Yeah.
I'm curious. Why do they hate you, though?
I told you I might have went on their panels and pushed their buttons and bullied them. And I'm trying to follow the 7 virtues of God. Being nicer to all of them and not bullying them and doing right by them. I just can't help it. I'm sorry.
Are you saying they can't handle you, and that's the problem?
Yeah, and more or less words. Yeah.
Well, there you go. I mean, Slugger. I mean, sounds to me like you gotta straighten a couple of people out, or at least you already tried to, and they kicked you out.
I went to the Clarissa Shields fight, in Detroit, and I told them.
Why would you do that?
Anybody wants it. No, well, here's the thing, right? I told them, if you guys want it, you can come and get it. Nobody showed up. I did the same thing with the Big Baby Anderson fight in Toledo. Nobody showed up. And then I said, one more warning, right? This coming Saturday, Alicia Bumgardner, she's going to be co-lining in Detroit. And I don't think any of them are going to show up either.
Well, there you go. Nobody wants a piece of the Sluggermeister. I think that we got that.
Just internet gangsters. You know what it is, Peter. They're all internet.
Now, do you call her Alicia Bumgardner because she has a nice ass, or do you think she's a bum? Just curious.
No, I thought that's how you say her name, Bumgardner. Is that how you say it?
Oh, I thought it's Baumgartner. I thought it was Baumgartner. But she does have a nice caca maker.
There's no denying that. But but I'll tell you. See, here's the thing, Jimmy. I don't understand these freaking stupid last names. Like, it's Italian, right? It's a respected last. It's Italiano. You know what I mean? There's none to it. You know, these other names, Baumgartner, you know, like, it's just nonsense, man. Nonsense. Just nonsense.
Well, there you have it, man. I mean, listen, I understand that there was a bit of a friction in the white TBC there a couple of weeks ago. You had Black and Brown, and by the way, you're a regular on the Free Smoke Friday, right? You're
yeah,
not,
they said, listen. You want to know what really happened? You want me to tell you how much these guys lie? It's honest to God truth. Matt Chad gave me the keys to his panel, right? Right?
Is that right?
Something you should never. Yeah, I'm dead serious. He gave me the keys to his panel, and I was hosting it like a gentleman. He was drunk, right? Because he's an alcoholic, right? And you know, he's a sinner. He needs to get right with God. And, and he's. Hold on. Now, let me say one more. And he's a piece of shit, right? But
wait.
Anyway, okay. I'll tell the story. Let me just tell the story. No more insults. I'll tell the story. Yeah, he gave me the thing. I was running his channel perfectly, better than he does. And he got mad that I blocked LT. You guys know that LT clown, right? You guys know.
Well, he's not a clown, but go ahead, yeah.
Yeah, I blocked him because he always blocks me. So eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. And he won crying in that chat. See, here's the thing, Jimmy. Me and you, we're fucking gangsters, bruh. We're gangsters, me and you. We don't understand these fucking YouTube clowns. Like, Jimmy, he goes running in that chat saying, hey, Slugger blocked me. He cries like a little fucking bitch about it. And Matt Chad got mad. He was drunk. He came on the panel. He kicked me out. He started blocking everybody. And then he blames it on me, saying I blocked everybody. You know? And they all kind of went along. You know, hey, Jimmy, you ever get cops that set you up? You've had cops set you up.
What's that?
I know you, Jimmy. Jimmy, you've had cops set you up, right? Set you up.
Yeah, of course, there's cops. Well,
Yeah,
cops. Yeah, only once in my life I was somebody tried to set me up just because he was in trouble and he tried to get everybody else in trouble, but it didn't work. It was too obvious.
Jimmy, that's what I'm saying. That's what Matt Chad did. The guy's he's a fucking undercover cop, snake cocksucker.
No, wait a minute. That's a big accusation right there, Slugger. Where's the proof for that type of statement?
Well, Jimmy, here's the thing, BD8. Where's the proof that I hijacked his fucking panel? He claims I hijacked this. BD8, can I hijack your panel right now? Like, seriously. I
offer you the chance to do it a couple months ago.
That's what he's saying. He's saying I hijacked it, but I took his account over. He says I hacked his account.
Okay.
But that's what I'm saying, B. How the fuck am I going to do? BA, I barely know how to send a fucking super chat. How am I supposed to hijack? You know? How am I supposed to hijack you? I don't even know how to send a super chat.
No, I got you. Well, I'm just glad we got that straightened out then. I just wanted to
Yeah. By the way, BD, I'll be at the Arthur Benavidez fight, you know?
Where is that, by the way? Oh, Quebec City. You're going to go to Quebec City? Huh, all right, cool.
I'll go for Benavidez, you know?
I'll make sure not to go then.
You'll make sure what?
I'll make sure not to go.
No, BD, you're good with me. You've been the day one, you know? You still got that, you and King Bucho, you guys are still the kings of Montreal. Don't worry about it.
King. So yes, okay. So listen. So long story short, don't give Slugger Sam the keys to the yard, because then he's gonna start a riot. I think that's what he's trying to get at. All right. Well, hey, by the way,
anyways,
yeah. Going back to the boxing thing, I see we don't have too much this Saturday. We've got Nonito Donaire coming back. We'll see if he still has some juice left. There's like Slugger Sam said, there's the Baumgartner fight. That's a bunch of blood. The only fight I'm interested in that is in that card is Andy Cruz. Andy Cruz, the guy who beat Keyshawn Davis in the Olympics, is gonna be fighting. So I'm curious to see how he does as a professional. But other than that,
I'm gonna see him live. I'm gonna see him live, BDA.
Good for you, man. Good for you.
Yeah. Well, I don't know why he's on that undercard. I'm not sure why they put him on that.
Gotta
Oh,
go,
he's a
man. I gotta
gold
end the
medalist.
show. Time
All
to
right.
go. Time to go home. It's been 3 hours and 27 minutes. So, thank you for being on the show, guys. I really appreciate it. We'll see you next time. All right. Take care.
No problem.
Now, for everybody in the chat, thank you for being on the show. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Check out the BDA Gaming channel. It's linked in the description. Video game channel, and also we have the Second Renaissance channel on Rumble. Check that out. Link in the description. And yeah, we'll have more shows coming up. The Spence versus Crawford fight is approaching. The Inoue Fulton fight as well. So we're gonna have more shows, for sure, in the coming days. So we can talk about that fight. All right. Take care, guys. Good night. Where's the fucking music? Ah, shit.